Chapter 65. When Cheng Menjing mentioned Xiao Chen, she felt a little helpless in her heart. But on the surface, she naturally couldn't show her concern for Xiao Chen. If it was only Shen Jingxian, it would be fine. But now there was an outsider like Chen Jingkuan. She naturally said with a cold face, "It seems that he went to sell breakfast." Sell breakfast? Shen Jingxian was slightly stunned, and Chen Jingkuan was also stunned. Why did Xiao Chen go to sell breakfast? Oh, it's good enough to keep him here. Don't expect me to give him money. If he wants to live, he should earn his own money. Cheng Menjing said coldly, but a useless young master like him has no ability, so he can only sell breakfast. Shen Jingxian naturally knew that Cheng Menjing was not such a cold-blooded person. She probably had other reasons for saying this, but now because Chen Jingkuan was on the side, she couldn't say it clearly. But she still said, "That Xiao Chen is really pitiful. Menjing, although he was not very good before and always made you angry, now he is down and out. We can't just ignore him, right?" Shen Jingxuan's character was like this. No one would think that it was inappropriate for her to say such words, especially Chen Jingkuan. After listening to Shen Jingxuan's words, he had a plan in his mind. He smiled calmly and said, "In this case, I think it's better for us to go to the place where he sells breakfast and visit him. Eating some of his breakfast can be considered as helping him." Chen Jingkuan's real purpose was to humiliate Xiao Chen. He also wanted to let Shen Jingxian see that this kind of trash was not worthy of pursuing her. Of course, Chen Jingkuan didn't think that Shen Jingxian would fall in love with Xiao Chen, but he was a narrow-minded person who liked to be jealous. Shen Jingxian naturally knew what kind of person Chen Jingkuan was. They had known each other for a long time. Although they didn't have a clear relationship before, Shen Jingxian still paid close attention to Chen Jingkuan, who was likely to have a marriage alliance. So when she was about to refuse, Cheng Menjing said, "That's fine. I want to see Xiao Chen's miserable look." Humph humph humph. In fact, she didn't know what was really on her mind. She wanted to know what Xiao Chen's life was like now. She wanted to see how he and Tang Tang sold breakfast every day. Just now, Chen Jingkuan was afraid that no one would support him if he humiliated Xiao Chen. Now, seeing Cheng Menjing's attitude, he was immediately relieved. At that time, even if Shen Jingxian was unhappy, he could say that he did it to please her bestie. The three of them went out of the villa together. Chen Jingkuan's silver Bugatti Veyron was a two-seater sports car, which could only take 2 people. But Miss Tang didn't have a car, which made Chen Jingkuan a little embarrassed. "Well, Jingxian, how about you and Cheng Menjing drive, and I take a taxi?" When he was in a dilemma, a beetle stopped in front of the villa. It was Jean Beibei's car. "Cousin Menjing, aren't you going to buy a car today?" Jean Beibei opened the window and shouted to Cheng Menjing, "Sister Jingxian, you're here too." "Oh, it's Beibei." Shen Jingxian knew Jean Beibei, too. She greeted her. Chen Jingkuan's face slightly changed. He had heard a thing or two about Jean Beibei and was unwilling to have anything to do with her. He simply greeted her politely, "Miss Jean, you're here." Jean Beibei looked at Chen Jingkuan and obviously did not want to talk to him. She turned to Cheng Menjing and asked her what was going on. "Jingxian, I happen to be in Beibei's car. Why don't you go first?" Cheng Menjing said to Jean Beibei. "All right." Shen Jingxian nodded and got into Chen Jingkuan's car. Cheng Menjing opened the door of the beetle and sat down next to Jean Beibei. The 2 cars started slowly and went to the morning street one after the other. "Cousin Menjing, where are you going?" Jean Beibei was still confused. She only knew that she was following Chen Jingkuan, but she did not know where they were going. "Jingxian and Chen Jingkuan are going to visit Xiao Chen." As she spoke, Cheng Menjing repeated their conversation to Jean Beibei. Then, she reminded her, "Beibei, don't call out to Xiao Chen later. If other people know that we are close to Xiao Chen, my family will certainly be unhappy. So, don't worry, cousin Menjiang. I'm not stupid. I can just call my cousin-in-law at home. Rest assured. I won't tell anyone your secret. Jean Bebe patted her chest and said, You. What secret do I have? You. What secret do I have? Cheng Menjiang was immediately annoyed, but she did not dare to refute her, fearing that Jean Bebe would say something inappropriate again if she did. The two cars stopped on the morning market street one after the other. Jean Bebe's Beetle was not eye-catching. After all, a car worth about 300,000 yuan was not really a luxury car nowadays. However, Chen Jinkuan's Bugatti Veyron was a bit cool and eye-catching. The morning street was full of hawkers. Although some cars were parked on the roadside and their drivers got out to buy breakfast, it was the first time that they had seen such a luxurious car. When they were guessing what they were going to do, they did not expect that the four of them would get out of their cars and walk straight to Xiao Chen's and Tang Tang's breakfast stall. The other hawkers could not help but exclaim, Are the deep-fried dough sticks so good? Even a second-generation rich kid driving a sports car came here because of its fame? Of course, Xiao Chen also saw Chen Jinkuan and his companions. He frowned, not expecting that the eldest lady, Jean Bebe, and Shen Jingxian would also come here. What are they doing here? Are they here to make fun of me? If it were before, Xiao Chen would definitely think so. However, after knowing the eldest lady's character, he knew that the eldest lady was definitely not a superficial person. Therefore, he decided to wait and see. Xiao Chen ignored them and continued to cook deep-fried dough sticks in the pan skillfully. Although Tang Tang also saw Cheng Menjiang and her companions, she did not know what they were here for. Since Xiao Chen did not say anything, she naturally continued to sell the deep-fried dough sticks. However, the appearance of Shen Jingxian made Xiao Chen's heart slightly tremble. This is the girl that I used to like a little bit. She has a gentle personality and a warm smile. She is the first goddess in the hearts of all the boys in the school. However, things had changed with the passage of time. Xiao Chen also knew his place. Therefore, he hid these thoughts in the bottom of his heart and did not even look at her at this moment. Isn't this Xiao Chen? In the past, I really couldn't tell that you, Xiao Chen, were a person with a hidden talent. You have consummate skills and a divine technique to protect your body. This fried dough stick is simply better than a 5-star hotel. Chen Jinkuan's words sounded like he was praising Xiao Chen, but in fact, he was mocking Xiao Chen. How could Xiao Chen not know that? A touch of anger appeared on Xiao Chen's face. His hands were trembling, and he almost raised the pan of oil and splashed it on Chen Jinkuan's face. Of course, he was pretending. To be honest, he did not put Chen Jinkuan in his eyes at all. Although the Chen family's people were detestable, they were still much easier to deal with than those people hiding behind the scenes who wanted to kill Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen was only maintaining his previous personality. If people knew that he was so calm even though he was in such dire straits, who would believe that there was no reason for it? Xiao Chen did not want to expose the fact that he was a cultivator prematurely. Thank you for the compliment. Xiao Chen took a deep breath and seemed to calm down, but the next words were a little explosive. If you want to buy it, line up at the back. If you don't want to buy it, don't stand here and get in the way. Xiao Chen's action made Chen Jinkuan secretly happy. If it were the previous Xiao Chen, he would definitely explode, but now, he could only swallow his anger. He could only use line up to fight back. However, did he need to line up? Chen Jinkuan directly took out 500 yuan bills from his pocket and shook them in front of Xiao Chen. He said, Give me 4 sets of soybean milk and fried dough sticks. Line up at the back. Xiao Chen said coldly. Yeah, how can you cut the line? We have been waiting in line for a long time. Is there anyone like you? When Xiao Chen said this, the customers who were waiting in line at the back suddenly became unhappy. I bought it at a high price. What's wrong with cutting the line? If you have the ability, why don't you spend it too? If you spend 1,000 yuan, I will definitely let you buy it first. How about it? If you don't have money, shut up. Chen Jinkuan came to humiliate Xiao Chen, so he naturally wouldn't let it go. However, Xiao Chen didn't seem to have any special coveting for the 500 yuan in his hand. Xiao Chen was already in such a poor state. How could he not be tempted? He was pretending. He was definitely pretending. Chen Jinkuan felt that Xiao Chen's face as a young master must have flared up again. He was embarrassed to accept his charity, so he increased his strength. 1,000 yuan. Give me 4 sets. Hurry up. Line up at the back. Xiao Chen still said without raising his head. Xiao Chen, don't be so shameless. Who do you think you are? If it weren't for Menjing's face, would I come here to eat? Chen Jinkuan's face was a little embarrassed. He came to humiliate Xiao Chen, but he was humiliated by Xiao Chen, a person who sold breakfast. In his opinion, he took out money to give to Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen should greet him with a smile and bow to him. Wasn't he short of money? Impossible. If he wasn't short of money, he would sell his breakfast hammer. 5,000 yuan. Consider it as a reward from me. Sir, how many fried dough sticks do you want? Although Tang Tang was stunned by Chen Jinkuan's nouveau riche behavior, Xiao Chen made it clear that he didn't want the money. Tang Tang naturally wouldn't accept it. She directly passed Chen Jinkuan and asked the old man behind him. Give me 10 yuan. The old man handed over a 10 yuan bill and said to Tang Tang. Okay. Tang Tang nodded and began to weigh it skillfully. Chen Jinkuan's face was gloomy and terrible at this moment. He couldn't directly beat Xiao Chen in front of Shen Jingxian. After all, he said that he was here to support Xiao Chen. It wasn't right to beat Xiao Chen. Therefore, Tang Tang became the target of his venting. B*TCH, didn't you hear me? Chen Jinkuan was burning with anger. He threw a stack of bills directly on Tang Tang's face, making a crisp sound. Hurry up and give me 4 sets of fried dough sticks and soy milk. Chapter 66. You. Tang Tang didn't expect that Chen Jinpeng would do it directly. She was stunned for a while. Originally, Xiao Chen had been pretending to be a very angry young master. But at this moment, Xiao Chen really couldn't bear it. The banknote hitting Tang Tang's face was like hitting Xiao Chen's heart. He didn't care whether he offended the Chen family or not. Anyway, he had offended several families. One more Chen family wouldn't make a difference. Xiao Chen raised the boiling pan of fried dough sticks and was about to put it on Chen Jinkuan's head. Tang Tang didn't expect that Xiao Chen would make such a drastic move. She knew Chen Jinkuan. She knew that if Xiao Chen really poured the pan of oil on Chen Jinkuan's head, even if Chen Jinkuan was a warrior at the 3rd level of internal force, he would be scalded. He would definitely be disfigured. So Tang Tang was anxious and quickly hugged Xiao Chen from behind. Xiao Chen, don't be impulsive. Chen Jinkuan was also shocked. He didn't expect that Xiao Chen would dare to do this. Originally, he thought that Xiao Chen would always be a teenage mutant ninja turtle. A wise man knows when to retreat. Although he was very angry, at this moment, he still took advantage of Tang Tang's buffer to quickly leave the fried dough stick stall. Who? Xiao Chen put down the pan of oil and spat out a mouthful of foul air. Although he was impulsive at that moment, he had calmed down at this moment. There were many ways to deal with Chen Jinkuan. There was no need to give him a handle in front of others. Xiao Chen, what are you going to do? It's a lot of money, and we even earned it. It's no big deal. Tang Tang was the one who was wronged, but it was Tang Tang who persuaded Xiao Chen instead. Not far away, Cheng Menjing and Shen Jingxian were also at a loss. They didn't expect that such a thing would happen. Of course, they also understood that Chen Jinkuan's approach was indeed a bit too much. Of course, Cheng Menjing still felt a little uncomfortable in her heart. What did Xiao Chen mean by this? Was he angry because of a beauty? First it was Kerlin, then it was Shen Jingxian, and now it was Tang Tang. Was she that bad? Why didn't he get angry for her? In any case, she was his ex-fiancée, right? Jean Bebe, on the other hand, looked at Xiao Chen with interest and seemed to be deep in thought. Humph. Xiao Chen, you're really something. I'm here to support you out of goodwill and give you money, but this is your attitude. I don't think you should open your breakfast stall anymore. I'll find a few brothers to come over tomorrow. Let's see if you can still do business then. The brothers that Chen Jinkuan mentioned were, of course, a group of rich playboys. These people were not good at other things, but they were good at making trouble. With these people around, how could Xiao Chen do business? Cheng Menjing was a little unhappy about Chen Jinkuan's attitude, but she couldn't show her support for Xiao Chen in public. At this time, Chen Jinkuan turned to Tang Tang again. Fat girl, are you Xiao Chen's girlfriend? He cares about you, doesn't he? Very well, maybe he will care more about you tomorrow. Usually, Chen Jinkuan was a relatively steady person. Although he was a bit like a rich playboy, he had a sense of propriety. Today, he was really angry, so he said those words. Of course, don't think that he just said it casually, because he meant what he said. Jingxian, Cheng Menjing, wait for me here. I'll go to a 5-star hotel to buy breakfast for you. We'll eat here. Let's show Xiao Chen that without Butcher Zhang, I won't be able to eat a depilate pig. After that, Chen Jinkuan angrily got into his Bugatti Veyron. The engine roared, but the car didn't directly leave the morning market street. Chen Jinkuan couldn't bear it. He and Xiao Chen didn't get along. At that time, he couldn't deal with Xiao Chen because Xiao Chen had the halo of the young master of the Xiao family. But now, he didn't have so many taboos. As long as he didn't do it in front of Shen Jingxian and Cheng Menjing, it would be fine. Chen Laosan? I'm Chen Jinkuan. Chen Jinkuan called Chen Laosan, a disciple of the Chen family. Young Master Kuan, it's me. What can I do for you? Chen Laosan received Chen Jinkuan's call and immediately became very respectful. He also knew that Chen Jinkuan was the successor of the Chen family. So if he wanted to continue to have a good position in the Chen family, he must please Chen Jinkuan. Find me a few people to come to the morning market street tomorrow and smash up Xiao Chen's stall. Beat him until he's disabled. Just don't beat him to death. As for the fat girl next to him, find a few underlings and gang rape her. Chen Jinkuan ordered coldly. Xiao Chen. Chen Laosan was stunned. He naturally knew Xiao Chen. He also knew the grudge between Chen Jinkuan and Xiao Chen. Even the second young master, Chen Jinpeng, and Xiao Chen had a falling out. He was just puzzled. Why did Xiao Chen go to sell breakfast? Yes, Xiao Chen is selling breakfast on the morning market street. You come and get him for me. Chen Jinkuan said, okay, that's it for now. Yes, I understand. Chen Laosan was a disciple of a steward of the Chen family. He ran a security company under him. He was considered to be half black and half white. Chen Jinkuan naturally looked for him for this kind of thing. After hanging up the phone, Chen Jinkuan started the car and went to a 5-star hotel to buy breakfast. On the other side, Xiao Chen seemed to be frying the fried dough sticks calmly, but a surge of hostility suddenly gushed out from his heart. Xiao Chen clearly heard Chen Jinkuan's words in the car. He was a cultivator, so this distance was no problem for him. Xiao Chen didn't feel anything about finding trouble with him. He would deal with it when it came. However, Chen Jinkuan's last sentence made Xiao Chen's anger that he had just suppressed burst out again. Make a move on Tang Tang? Find someone to gang rape her? Very well, let's see if anyone will listen to you after you are dead. Now in Xiao Chen's eyes, there was no restriction between the families. If you want to kill my friend, I will kill you first. Tang Tang, you hold on for a while. I'm going to the toilet. Xiao Chen said to her calmly. Okay. Tang Tang didn't think much about it. After all, people eat grains. Who doesn't go to the toilet? In the past, Xiao Chen also went to the toilet. Cheng Menjing saw Xiao Chen leave and gritted her teeth. Xiao Chen looked at the young miss. How could he not know what she meant? He smiled at her and expressed enough kindness. This made Cheng Menjing's heart relieved. It seemed that Xiao Chen understood her difficulties. However, Xiao Chen didn't have time to say anything to Cheng Menjing. He pretended to have a stomachache and left the morning street in a hurry. Elder Heaven Ancestor, which direction did he go? Xiao Chen asked secretly. On the left side of the morning street. Elder Heaven Ancestor naturally knew what Xiao Chen was thinking. I say, Xiao Chen, you don't want to fight on the street, do you? The opponent is a stage 3 inner force warrior. Although you have a chance of winning, the chance of winning is not very high. I don't need to fight. Elder Heaven Ancestor, just do me a favor later. Xiao Chen was not stupid. If he fought with Chen Jinkuan on the street, wouldn't it be equal to exposing his strength to the public? Right now, Xiao Chen didn't want to expose his strength too early. Xiao Chen walked out of the morning street and walked to the left. Then he found a hidden bench on the side of the road and sat down. Since Chen Jinkuan left from this side, he must be coming back from this side. Xiao Chen didn't have to worry about not seeing Chen Jinkuan at all. Chen Jinkuan was afraid that Shen Jingxian and the others would wait too long, so he came and went in a hurry. He bought 4 servings of soybean milk and fried dough sticks in a high-end hotel and drove back. His car was a sports car. Early in the morning on the weekend, there weren't many cars on the road, so the advantage of a sports car was obvious. Suddenly, Xiao Chen opened his eyes. In the distance, the silver Bugatti Veyron had already entered his perception range. He had to thank Chen Jinkuan for this. If it wasn't for his car being too eye-catching, Xiao Chen wouldn't have been able to discover it so easily. Elder Heaven Ancestor, help me make Chen Jinkuan hit the garbage truck on the opposite side. A touch of coldness flashed in Xiao Chen's eyes. Huh, Xiao Chen, you can't be so impulsive. I was just wondering what you wanted me to help you with. So it's this. Elder Heaven Ancestor used to be a person in the cultivation world. There were no cars there, so he didn't think that Chen Jinkuan would die in a car accident. So he was very surprised. Now he realized that Xiao Chen wanted to kill him secretly. It was easy for Elder Heaven Ancestor to influence a stage 3 inner force martial artist's decision. Chen Jinkuan's silver sports car suddenly changed direction and went straight to the back of a garbage truck that was parked on the side of the road. Boom, the car accident happened in an instant. In the blink of an eye, the whole Bugatti Veyron squeezed into the back of the truck, and Chen Jinkuan's head was crushed in an instant. For a moment, the roadside was drenched with blood. Next to the truck, the worker who operated the garbage forklift was scared. Looking at the blood and debris on the ground, he didn't know what to do. A stage 3 inner force martial artist was still too weak. In the face of the absolute crushing of the car accident, there was no hope of survival. Xiao Chen didn't even bother to look at it. He got up from the bench and quickly ran to the morning market street. After returning to the breakfast stall, Xiao Chen pretended that nothing had happened. Seeing Tang Tang's busy and sweaty face, he had a strange feeling in his heart. Working people were the cutest. Tang Tang, are you busy? Let me do it. As Xiao Chen spoke, he took over the work from Tang Tang skillfully. As for Cheng Menjing and Shen Jingxian, they stood not far away awkwardly, not knowing whether to leave or stay. They didn't know what Chen Jinkuan was up to. He had been gone for so long and still hadn't come back. As for Jean Bebe, they didn't know where she was. She probably went shopping on the morning market street. She had never been to such a place before, so naturally, she was full of curiosity. After a while, Jean Bebe suddenly ran back with her hands on her chest, panting. She said breathlessly, "Bad news, bad news. Something big happened. My breasts are about to fall off." Although Jean Bebe's voice was not loud, it still attracted the strange looks of several young men around her. Cheng Menjing was immediately speechless. She glared at Jean Bebe and said, "Bebe, what's wrong with you? Is it a big deal if your breasts fall off? If you don't run, you will be fine, right?" Chapter 67. Shen Jingxian couldn't help but smile. She also felt that Jean Bebe, the little clown, was quite interesting. "Oh, that's not it. What I mean is that something serious happened. I just ran back and almost lost my breasts. That's not the important thing." Jean Bebe waved her hands and took a deep breath. Chen Jinkuan was killed in a car accident. What? Cheng Menjing and Shen Jingxian widened their eyes at the same time. Chen Jinkuan was killed by a car accident? When did that happen? Is it true? Bebe, don't talk nonsense. Cheng Menjing frowned. Although she knew that Jean Bebe must have disliked Chen Jinkuan, and although Cheng Menjing didn't want to admit it, she had to admit that Jean Bebe seemed to have a good impression of Xiao Chen because she had never seen Jean Bebe get along so well with any guy. Therefore, Jean Bebe must have hated Chen Jinkuan because of the previous unpleasantness. However, even though she hated him, she couldn't curse him, could she? It must be noted that Chen Jinkuan was Shen Jingshuan's fiancé after all. I'm not talking nonsense. When I went to the street of the morning market to see if there was anything good, I heard a loud boom. A silver sports car got into the bottom of a garbage truck. Jean Bebe said vividly, "Holy sh**t. I was wondering which idiot drove the car. He died a miserable death, and his head was smashed. But when I took a closer look, I found that it was Chen Jinkuan's Bugatti Veyron, wasn't it? Therefore, I hurried to inform them." Is what you said true? Although Shen Jingxian didn't like Chen Jinkuan, she couldn't do anything about it. Chen Jinkuan was already her fiancé. Therefore, Chen Jinkuan's death was also a big deal for the Shen family. Under such circumstances, Shen Jingxian had to take it seriously. How could I be joking? As Jean Bebe spoke, she turned around and looked at Xiao Chen. "Cousin-in-law, the public toilet is on the other side of the street. You went to the toilet just now, didn't you? You should have seen it too, right?" Jean Bebe's words made Xiao Chen's heart skip a beat. Just now, Jean Bebe said that she ran back as soon as she saw the car accident, which made Xiao Chen feel that something was wrong. He was also on the other side of the street, and he was on a bench some distance away from the street. He also came back after the car accident, but Jean Bebe came back a few minutes later than him, and she ran back breathlessly. Judging from the time, something was not right. However, Jean Bebe might have been dumbfounded at that time. It was also possible that she recognized that it was Chen Jinkuan's car after watching for a while. Therefore, she was a bit slower. Besides, there were so many onlookers, so it was impossible for Xiao Chen to notice whether Jean Bebe was in the car or not. However, Jean Bebe's sudden question made Xiao Chen feel that Jean Bebe was hinting at something. "I came back directly. Chen Jinkuan is dead?" That's good news. Xiao Chen was very happy about Chen Jinkuan's death. Jean Bebe did not ask Xiao Chen anything else. Instead, she turned around and asked Cheng Menjing, "What bad luck? Cousin Menjing, what should we do now?" "Menjing, I'm so sorry. I came to see you today, but I didn't expect such a thing to happen. I'll come to see you in a few days. I have to deal with the things here with my family," Shen Jingxian said solemnly. "Okay. Go ahead. Don't worry about me. I'll be fine." Cheng Menjing also knew how serious this matter was. Chen Jinkuan was a junior that the Chen family paid special attention to. At such a young age, he was already a level 3 inner force warrior, which had reached the standard to be apprenticed to the warrior guild. As long as he was 18 years old, he could be apprenticed to the warrior guild officially. He had a bright future and was no less promising than Cheng Zhongqian of the Cheng family. Cheng Menjing was very clear that Cheng Zhongqian's disappearance had caused a great shock to the Cheng family. Even Xiao Chen had become a scapegoat. Although the Chen family where Chen Jinkuan was from did not have the same background as the Cheng family, it would be hard for them to let this matter go. After Shen Jingxian left, Cheng Menjing was a little embarrassed. She could neither leave nor stay here. She did not know how to explain it to Xiao Chen. "Cousin-in-law, give me a serving of soybean milk." Jean Beibei, on the other hand, was hungry. She directly ran to Xiao Chen's youtiao stall and said. Now that Shen Jingxian was gone and Chen Jinkuan was dead, there was no need for her to pretend anymore. A serving of soybean milk? Xiao Chen was dazed for a moment. That sounded a little ambiguous. However, he knew Jean Beibei's personality very well. He nodded and picked up a bowl, preparing to fill it with soybean milk. Then, he said, "Do you want the youtiao?" "No, I'm not hungry. I've already eaten too early." "Cousin Menjing, do you want it?" Jean Beibei said. "Okay." Xiao Chen smiled. He picked up a plate and filled it with 2 youtiao and 2 bowls of soybean milk. He gave them to Jean Beibei and said, "Give them to Miss Tang. There are tables nearby. You can take a seat and eat." There was a row of free tables and chairs behind the morning market, which were provided by the market. Every stall only needed to pay the usage fee and the management fee every month. Although she had to pay, she did not have to worry that the regular market would be cleaned up. She could run her business here without worry. Therefore, Tang Tang was quite willing to pay the fee. "Cousin-in-law, I didn't bring any money with me. Considering our relationship, you won't take my money, will you?" Jean Beibei picked up the plate and left happily. "You've already broken off the engagement, but you still call me cousin so intimately. It's obvious that you are just freeloading." Hearing that Jean Beibei did not pay, Tang Tang mumbled angrily. Of course, there was no telling whether she was angry because Jean Beibei did not pay or because Jean Beibei was angry. "I'd love to." Although Tang Tang's voice was low, Jean Beibei still heard it. "Besides, my cousin has broken off the engagement, but I haven't. Have you ever heard that my sister-in-law is, Beibei?" Cheng Menjing covered Jean Beibei's mouth and glared at her. "Don't talk nonsense. Are you going to eat or not? If not, are you leaving?" Of course, of course." Jean Beibei was dragged away to eat. He. "Why are you bickering with a little girl?" Xiao Chen shrugged helplessly. "Beibei is a nice person. We are all friends. How can I ask her for money? Besides, it's just a title." "Got it." Tang Tang secretly sighed. It seemed that Xiao Chen still liked Cheng Menjing. Otherwise, why would he be so happy when Jean Beibei called him cousin husband? It was obvious that he wanted to be her cousin husband. Xiao Chen was busy kneading the dough with his head lowered and did not notice Tang Tang's expression. Naturally, he did not know that Tang Tang had misunderstood him. However, Xiao Chen suddenly found that his psychological quality had become so high. He had just killed a person. Although it could be said that it was not him who killed the person but the elder heaven ancestor who killed the person invisibly, it was Xiao Chen's idea in the final analysis. However, Xiao Chen was unusually calm at this moment. After experiencing life and death, Xiao Chen had seen many things lightly. Relying on others was meaningless. Only relying on himself was real. He had thought that his family and his father were his biggest backers in his life. But now, he had been abandoned by his family and his father had gone missing. His own strength was the most important thing. Cheng Menjing and Jin Beibei were eating breakfast at a table nearby. Cheng Menjing did not know what to say. Tang Tang was also here, which made her feel very embarrassed. Cousin Menjing, it seems that cousin-in-law is going to have an affair. Jin Beibei said while looking at Xiao Chen and Tang Tang who were busy. You'd better care about something useful. Cheng Menjing did not want to talk about this topic anymore. Have you finished eating? Go back if you have. Oh, I've finished eating. It's cousin Menjing who hasn't. Jin Beibei pointed at the deep-fried dough sticks on Cheng Menjing's plate and said. I'll pack it up. Cheng Menjing said. When Shen Jingxian saw the scene of the car accident, she was also stunned. She had contacted her father, Shen Zhenghao. Shen Zhenghao was the person in charge of the Shen family in Songning City. Although the Shen family was a giant, their foundation was not in Songning City. Although they had a lot of investments in Songning City, they had to win the support of some local forces if they wanted to establish a foothold here and establish a branch of an aristocratic family. The Shen family favored the Chen family. Of course, it did not mean that the Chen family was very powerful. On the contrary, the Chen family was not the most powerful among the 9 aristocratic families. What he valued was that the young master of the Chen family had not been engaged. Of course, it was not only the Chen family that had not been engaged. It was because Chen Jinkuan of the Chen family had the strength to be superior to the juniors of other aristocratic families. Both conditions met, so Chen Jinkuan naturally became Shen Zhenghao's choice. This was also the reason why Shen Jingxian was engaged. However, he did not expect that Chen Jinkuan would die as soon as this matter was settled. Wasn't this too much of a coincidence? When Shen Zhenghao arrived at the scene, Chen Jinkuan's father, Chen Zhantian, had just arrived. Although Chen Zhantian was a martial artist, his son died a violent death. At this moment, he suppressed the sadness in his heart and his whole body was trembling. He nodded to Shen Jingxian and rushed to the scene of the accident. There were already traffic police dealing with the traffic accident. I am the father of the deceased. What the hell happened? Chen Zhantian asked a traffic police officer who was dealing with the accident. Chen Zhantian was a celebrity in Songning City. He was the president of Chen's Security Supplies Group. Many police equipment were also produced by Chen's group. The captain of the traffic police squadron naturally knew Chen Zhantian. The accident was very serious. Just the vehicle involved in the accident was worth tens of millions. Therefore, the captain personally came to deal with the accident. However, he did not expect that the victim of the accident was the young master of Chen's group. President Chen, you mean, the victim of the accident is? The squadron captain was shocked. He did not expect the deceased to have such a big background. Yes, what the hell happened? Chen Zhantian did not lose his temper. After all, it had nothing to do with these people. If he wanted to figure out the truth of the matter, he needed the help of these people. President Chen, it's like this. According to the witness, your son's car was originally driving normally, but it suddenly lost control and went under the garbage truck. The squadron captain explained. Chapter 68. Normal driving? Chen Zhantian couldn't help but frown. Not to mention normal driving, even if it wasn't normal, with Chen Jinkuan's strength, it wasn't difficult for him to judge in an instant. No matter how bad it was impossible for him to hide under the truck, right? At this time, Shen Zhenghao asked Shen Jingxian about what happened and walked over. When he heard the words of the squadron leader, he couldn't help but ask, is it an accident, or is there something else? Shen Zhenghao's question was also what Chen Zhantian wanted to ask. Although the Chen family was strong, it wasn't that they didn't have enemies. All the aristocratic families were competing with each other. It wasn't impossible to kill the heir of the Chen family and suppress the Chen family, especially when the Chen family and the Shen family cooperated. This was the rhythm of the Chen family's rise. Killing Chen Jinkuan at this time was tantamount to obstructing the cooperation between the Chen family and the Shen family. According to the eyewitness, it was an accident. The squadron leader said, "But our colleagues in the accident department have found the car's driving recorder and someone went to retrieve the video of this intersection. Everything will be concluded soon." Chen Zhantian nodded and sighed, "Then I'll have to trouble you." The squadron leader didn't say anything, just nodded heavily and went to busy himself with other matters. "Brother Chen, I'm sorry for your loss. This matter seems to be an accident," Shen Zhenghao said. "I also hope it was an accident." Chen Zhantian nodded and said, "Originally, you and I could still marry each other. Who would have thought that such a thing would happen? Jinkuan, this child, how could he be so reckless?" Chen Zhantian's voice was trembling, but he was able to restrain his grief. This was because this matter was estimated to have reached other families, and he didn't want them to laugh at him. "Brother Chen, don't worry. Even if our two families didn't marry each other, this friendship is already formed. In the future, we can help each other." In fact, Shen Zhenghao didn't want such a thing to happen. Shen Jingxian just married Chen Jinkuan, and then Chen Jinkuan died. He was also very depressed. It wasn't that Shen Jingxian couldn't get married. In fact, if he spread the news, other aristocratic families would still line up to marry Shen Jingxian. However, this also involved the issue of face. Shen Zhenghao was also from a wealthy family. His fiancée just died, and it wasn't the right thing to do. At that time, it would be impossible for him to cooperate with the Chen family. This was not a situation that Shen Zhenghao wanted to see. He didn't like people who were two-faced. Since they had cooperated, they should continue to cooperate. Although there was no marriage alliance and this cooperation was not very reliable, at least he couldn't choose another family for the time being. Future matters could be discussed in the future. "Hey, elder brother Shen has this kind of heart, our Chen family is very grateful. Elder brother Shen, here is a mess, why don't you take Jingxian back first? She has also suffered quite a shock. It's useless for you to stay here," Chen Jinkuan said. "Alright, then we'll head back first." Shen Zhenghao nodded. At this time, he also knew that he couldn't help much here. This was a sad time for the Chen family. They also needed to discuss the next countermeasures. Chen Jinkuan had always been regarded as the successor of the third generation of the Chen family. The Chen family's cultivation resources were all inclined towards him. But now, this person suddenly died, disrupting the Chen family's deployment. Now, the Chen family had to reconsider. The scene of the car accident was quickly dealt with. At this moment, Chen Zhantian had also returned to the Chen family. In the Chen family's meeting hall, the old man of the Chen family, Chen Wuxian, had an ugly expression on his face. At this moment, this old man who was originally full of vigor suddenly aged a lot. His hands were trembling slightly. He couldn't accept the truth in front of him. The grandson he valued so much had died? Just like that? At this moment, the happiest person in the entire Chen family was Chen Jinpeng. Even Chen Huanling, Chen Jinpeng's father, didn't want Chen Jinkuan to die. The continuous development of a family needed a capable person to be at the helm. Chen Huanling knew very well what kind of person his son was. His son was a playboy. His strength was not as good as Chen Jinkuan's, and his temperament was not as good as Chen Jinkuan's. What kind of future did he have? Zhantian, what the hell happened? Did the traffic police come to a conclusion? Chen Wuxian asked painfully. Father, they have come to a conclusion. It was an accident. Whether it was the surveillance cameras on the streets or the driving recorder on Jinkuan's car, it can be confirmed that it was an accident. No one framed Jinkuan. Although Chen Zhantian didn't want to believe it, he still told the truth. What an eventful time. I originally thought that the marriage between the Chen family and the Shen family would bring us a step further, but such a thing happened. Chen Wuxian was surprised to hear this. He knew that he couldn't blame anyone for this and could only accept it. "Father, I think that the Chen family must come up with a plan. Jin Kuan is gone. Although this is very sad, I think that we can't give up on the cooperation with the Shen family." Chen Wuxian said. "Oh? How can we cooperate?" Chen Wuxian was slightly surprised. "Jin Kuan is gone, but there is still Jinpeng. In the future, the Chen family can only use Jinpeng as the only person to cultivate. I think we can transfer this marriage to Jinpeng," Chen Zhantian suggested. "Oh?" After Chen Wuxian heard this, he looked at Chen Zhantian with approval. As the leader of the second generation of the Chen family, Chen Zhantian already had the consciousness of putting the family first. Jinpeng and Jin Kuan were fighting openly and secretly. Of course, Chen Jinpeng's matters were not on the table. The Chen family also didn't think that Chen Jinpeng could have any future prospects. Even Chen Huanling didn't think that his son could make any waves. He only hoped that his son could become a rich man under the protection of the Chen family. Chen Jinpeng was shocked. Yes, Chen Jin Kuan was dead. Now, the only direct descendant of the Chen family was him. If not him, who else should they cultivate? Especially the marriage with Shen Jingxian, Chen Jinpeng almost laughed out loud. He was also secretly in love with Shen Jingxian. However, he felt that there was no hope and could only dream about it. He didn't expect that it would become a reality. Jinpeng, this child, doesn't have any ability. Chen Huanling was a little worried. He knew his son better than anyone else. "Second brother, we watched Jinpeng grow up. Although he is a bit naughty, who else should the Chen family cultivate if not him? Are we going to cultivate those collateral relatives?" Chen Zhantian interrupted Chen Huanling and said. "Huanling, Zhantian is right. No matter what, Jinpeng is the only direct descendant of the Chen family. If we don't cultivate him, who else should we cultivate? This matter is settled. From now on, Chen Jinpeng will be the third-generation heir of the Chen family," Chen Wuxian said decisively. "Zhantian, call Shen Zhenghao later and tell him about the marriage. No matter how good our discussion is, if he doesn't agree, there is nothing we can do." In fact, Grandpa Chen also knew that Shen Zhenghao liked Chen Jinkuan because of his level 3 internal force. Chen Jinpeng was different, but he could only give it a try. At this moment, Shen Jingxian was sitting quietly in Shen Zhenghao's car, not saying a word. "Luckily, Jingxian, you two haven't officially gotten engaged yet. Otherwise, it would be bad to have a bad reputation," Shen Zhenghao said with fear. If that was really the case, it wouldn't be easy for Shen Jingxian to marry a good family. After all, these big families still cared about their reputation. "Dad, now that Chen Jinkuan is dead, does that mean the engagement is cancelled?" In fact, Shen Jingxian didn't like Chen Jinkuan at all. Now that Chen Jinkuan was dead, she felt nothing but sympathy. "Jingxian, you know that as a girl of the Shen family, you can't decide your own marriage unless you really like a powerful young master from a big family. Only then will the Shen family support you," Shen Zhenghao said. "Although marriage is a very vulgar method, our Shen family has been developing to this day. We have survived several disasters. What did we rely on? Isn't it because of external help? Where does this external help come from? It's from our in-laws." "I know, but after this, can you give me some time to calm down? At least, before I finish my studies, I won't get married anymore, okay?" In front of outsiders, Shen Jingxian looked very glamorous, but in fact, she couldn't help but feel sad. "Jingxian, you also know that the selection for the third generation of the Shen family has already begun. Your brother is also one of the candidates in the family's training system. However, whether he can stand out or not, in addition to his own strength, it also depends on his influence. You are his sister. If you marry into the Chen family, then the Chen family will be our supporter." Shen Zhenghao said. "Jingxian, you also know that once the next family head is determined, the other candidates will be sent out to other places. They can't return to the Shen family if there's nothing important. This feeling of being away from home is not a good feeling. You don't want your brother to be separated from us, right? This. Shen Jingxian hesitated. In the Shen family, the person she cared about the most was her brother. Her brother had always been her pride. At such a young age, he had already reached the fourth stage of internal strength. However, the Shen family was a big family. Shen Jingxuan's brother was not the only one who had reached the fourth stage of internal strength. If he wanted to stand out and become the heir of the family, he would need external help. Sometimes, the strength of the external help would directly determine the position of the person. In fact, this was understandable. The family head had a wide network and knew some powerful people. When the family encountered trouble, the family head could use his personal connections to invite some powerful people to solve the problem. While the father and daughter were talking, Chen Zhantian's phone call reached Shen Zhenghao. Chapter 69. Brother Chen, how is it? Is there a result? Shen Zhenghao picked up the phone and asked. It was an accident, it has been confirmed. Chen Zhantian said. Brother Chen, I'm sorry for your loss. You and I are both martial artists, so let's not worry too much. Shen Zhenghao comforted him. I understand, thank you, Brother Shen. But this time I called you to tell you about the decision of our Chen family. Chen Zhantian said. The decision of the Chen family? Shen Zhenghao was slightly stunned. What does the decision of the Chen family have to do with me? In the past, the two families were in-laws, so it was fine for him to listen to it, but now, what was he listening to? Chen Jinpeng has been designated as the third-generation heir of the Chen family by my father. All the resources of the Chen family will be given to him. In this way, I think there is no need to cancel the marriage between our two families. The brother is gone, and the fiancé of the brother is married to the younger brother. This is a common thing in our ancient martial arts families. Chen Zhantian first explained this matter reasonably and then said, Brother Shen, what do you think? This. Shen Zhenghao didn't expect the Chen family to make a decision so quickly. This made him a little embarrassed. He understood what Chen Zhantian said. Not to mention that they were not married, even if they were married, it was common for the sister-in-law to marry the brother-in-law in ancient times. At least, it was reasonable from the perspective of etiquette. Moreover, this was also a situation that Shen Zhenghao was happy to see. He had been in contact with the Chen family for so long and was only lacking the next step of substantive cooperation. If they were to die now, it would be impossible for Shen Zhenghao to contact other families in a short period of time. This would be disadvantageous to Shen Zhenghao's son in competing for the position of heir. So after thinking for a moment, Shen Zhenghao agreed, I think there is no problem, but I need to work on my daughter's side. After all, I need her consent. No problem. You don't need Jingxuan's consent. How about the two children get to know each other first? Once they are familiar with each other, it will be logical. Chen Zhantian said. Of course, if the two of them were to come into contact with each other, the matter would be more or less settled. Once the rumor spread, how could it not be settled? Both families were people who cared about their reputation. Between the children of aristocratic families, they either didn't want to be together, or they had to persevere. Otherwise, the two families would fall out. The Xiao family and the Qing family, the Yu family and the Tang family, weren't they the same? Alright, I won't bother you anymore. There are a lot of things to take care of at home, and I have to deal with them. Chen Zhantian achieved his goal and no longer said anything. His son's funeral preparations had already begun. After hanging up the phone, Shen Zhenghao sighed and looked at Shen Jingxian. Jingxian, it's settled. Your marriage partner is Chen Jinpeng. Chen Jinpeng? Shen Jingxian was stunned. She could barely accept Chen Jinkuan, but she looked down on Chen Jinpeng. This person did not have much ability and was a profligate son of a rich family. He followed behind Xiao Chen and used his connections to intimidate others. Of course, what Shen Jingxian couldn't accept the most was that this person was two-faced. This kind of behavior made her look down on him. Since he was Xiao Chen's little brother, why did he rely on Chao Yuliang? Chen Jinpeng has been confirmed as the third-generation heir of the Chen family. All the cultivation resources will be given to him. Although this person's status in the Chen family can't catch up with Chen Jinkuan, it will happen sooner or later. Shen Zhenghao said, Jingxian, this person is still okay. No matter what, he is better than Xiao Chen of the Xiao family, right? At least, Chen Jinpeng can still cultivate. Oh. Shen Jingxian knew that her father had made up his mind. At this moment, nothing she said could help. In fact, Shen Jingxian thought that Xiao Chen was better than Chen Jinpeng. At least, Xiao Chen could live well without the halo of a child, which meant that Xiao Chen was not a loser. When Xiao Chen closed the stall and went home in the evening, Jean Bebe was still there. She was commenting on a character in a TV series with Miss Xiao. Seeing Xiao Chen coming back, Cheng Menjing snorted unhappily, Bebe and I haven't had dinner yet. You came back so late. Are you going to make us starve? Don't you know who you are? Hee hee. Xiao Chen was already used to Miss Xiao's princess syndrome. He put the bag in his hand on the tea table in front of them and said, I made fried dough twists and fried cakes for you. Have a taste. Wow, cousin-in-law, you have added a new variety again? The fried dough twists look delicious. While speaking, Jean Bebe started to eat while drooling. She picked up a piece of fried dough twists and stuffed it in. They look greasy. I wonder if I will get pimples on my face if I eat them. Although Cheng Menjing also felt that the fried dough twists looked delicious, she could not be happy when Xiao Chen took out delicious food since he came back so late, could she? That would be too easy to please. However, I am a natural beauty. Let's try some of them. Which one should we eat first? Wow! They are so delicious. Cousin-in-law, your cooking skills are really good. Whoever marries you will be happy. Jean Bebe ate the fried dough twists with her mouth covered in grease. Hey, save some for me. You damn Bebe, do you want to die? Cheng Menjing was trying to be reserved when she suddenly discovered that there was only one fried cake left. The other three had been eaten up by Jean Bebe, and one was still in her hand. Cheng Menjing immediately grew anxious and snatched it away. Don't you know that you should be more lenient to your cousin? He is my cousin-in-law, and you are my cousin. You can eat them whenever you want. I can't, unless you give your cousin-in-law to me. Jean Bebe picked up a fried dough twists, somewhat unwillingly. Cheng Menjing snorted and ordered Xiao Chen, if there is delicious food in the future, do not give it to Bebe. Oh, hee hee. Xiao Chen smiled. Looking at the two girls eating happily, Xiao Chen also heaved a sigh of relief. To be honest, he really came back a little late. His current identity was the young Mrs. Male servant. Every day, he was busy with his own matters. It was really a little unreasonable. Cousin-in-law, if you want to marry my cousin, you have to please me. Jean Bebe said. You guys eat. I will go back to my room first. Xiao Chen was going to brew medicine. He did not want to talk about this topic anymore. After all, he felt that it was impossible for him to be with Cheng Menjing. He could joke with her, but it was not appropriate for him to joke with her all the time. Come back early tomorrow to buy a car, Cheng Menjing glanced at Xiao Chen and said. Buy a car? Xiao Chen then remembered that Cheng Menjing said that she would buy a car on the weekend, but he was too busy and forgot about it. Okay, I will come back in the afternoon. After returning to his room, Xiao Chen sent a message to Tang Tang and told her that he would buy a car the next day. Tang Tang replied quickly, why are you going to buy a car? It is not for you. Hee hee. Hee hee, I'm the driver, Xiaochen replied. Tang Tang said, oh, go ahead. But you have to come in the morning. I am too busy in the morning. I will definitely go in the morning. I will go there early tomorrow. I will need the fried dough twists and cover them with plastic wrap. In the afternoon, you can directly put them into the pot. Unsurprisingly, Xiaochen was still very proficient in making fried dough twists and fried cakes. The next morning, or rather early, Xiaochen got up at 2:00 in the morning. Now that he had the advantage of making food, Xiaochen did not want to waste it. Instead of eating instant noodles, Xiaochen directly made a pot of lean meat porridge. After leaving a note for the first Miss and Jean Bebe, he went out. Since he was going to buy a car that day, Jean Bebe stayed here that night. Xiaochen came earlier than usual, so he began to knead the dough in the yard of the granny's grocery store. However, to Xiaochen's surprise, Tang Tang came soon. Why are you here so early? Xiaochen was a little surprised. You told me to come earlier. I couldn't sleep after I woke up, so I came. Tang Tang smiled and said, let's do it together. Okay. Xiaochen felt that do it together was a little ambiguous. However, it seemed that he had thought too much. The car accident on the street of the morning market had no influence on the street. Ordinary people would not care about Chen Jinkuan's death. Only the aristocratic families were shocked. Some were sad, while some were happy. In fact, many aristocratic families did not want the Chen family to unite with the Shen family through marriage. After all, if the Chen family became powerful, they would definitely threaten the status of other aristocratic families. Now that a promising member of the third generation of the Chen family had died, the marriage would definitely be ruined. Many people were laughing at the Chen family. Unexpectedly, the Chen family reacted so fast. On the night of Chen Jinkuan's death, they pushed Chen Jinpeng into the spotlight. Moreover, the engagement with the Shen family would be inherited by Chen Jinpeng. Many aristocratic families did not expect that. Of course, these things had nothing to do with Xiaochen and Tang Tang at the moment. No one told them the follow-up of the matter. Xiaochen did not care at all. In his view, no one could suspect him of the way Chen Jinkuan died, at least not at this stage. Before he showed his strength, he was still safe. Well, now that I think about it, it's better for us to be broken off than for Shen Jingshuan's fiancé to die. If Shen Jingxian wants to marry in the future, her choice will be a little narrow. Tang Tang felt that Shen Jingxian was very pitiful. It's okay. She didn't like Chen Jinkuan. It's okay that she died. Xiaochen used to like Shen Jingxian. Even now, he still had a good impression of her. Naturally, he did not want to see Shen Jingxian unhappy. Sometimes, it was hard for Xiaochen to tell whether he killed Chen Jinkuan yesterday for Tang Tang or because he did not want Shen Jingxian to be with Chen Jinkuan. Of course, the former was definitely the main reason. The latter also faintly influenced Xiaochen's decision. Hey! It sounds like you are interested in Shen Jingxian. Tang Tang was actually very sensitive. From Xiaochen's tone, she heard something unusual. Chapter 70. Hee hee. Sort of. But that's all in the past. Now, I'm in love with you. Xiaochen smiled casually. Humph. I don't believe it. Although she said so, she was secretly delighted for no reason. She was even more enthusiastic about making the fried dough sticks. The whole morning was spent in busy work. After lunch, Xiaochen prepared lunch for his mistress and Jean Bebe. Then, he said goodbye to Tang Tang. Cousin-in-law, did you bring me delicious food again? When Jean Bebe saw Xiaochen, she directly snatched the bag in his hand. Bebe, why are you like a starving ghost? You are so crazy. Can't you be more ladylike? Cheng Menjing was quite dissatisfied with Jean Beibei's behavior. Aya. We are all on the same side. Why are you still acting cool? Ladylike? I hate it. Jean Beibei opened the bag and began to eat. Hey, leave some for me. Cheng Menjing grew anxious and rushed over to snatch the food. Cousin, don't you want to be a ladylike girl? Why are you robbing me, too? Although Jean Beibei was talking, she did not lag behind at all. A fried cake had already entered her stomach. If you don't rob me, there won't be any left. I just had a bowl of the porridge in the morning, and you had a whole pot. Cheng Menjing yelled angrily. Well. I'm still growing. Jean Beibei was somewhat embarrassed. The lean meat porridge in the morning was too delicious. She thought it was even better than the ones in the 5-star hotels. What growing? It's all on your chest, isn't it? Cheng Menjing had no time to care about her image anymore. She snatched a fried dough twist and a fried cake and ran away. She did not eat as fast as Jean Beibei. She was naturally at a disadvantage. Therefore, she could only rob the food and eat it slowly. It did not occur to Xiaofan that the food he made would be so popular. He was rather relieved. It seemed that Cheng Menjing was satisfied with him as a servant. Then, he could continue working for her. To be honest, Xiaofan really did not want to leave the mistress and work on his own. It was not because Xiaofan liked Cheng Menjing and did not want to be apart from her, but it was not important. The main problem was that Xiaofan did not want others to pay attention to him. He could train and improve his capability in secret here. If he went out, he would become a big target. By then, it would not be easy for him to hide anything. At the very least, with Cheng Menjing's identity as the eldest daughter of the Cheng family, it was impossible for the other aristocratic families to monitor this place. This was related to the Cheng family's reputation. There's no need to fight for it. If you want to eat, I can make some more tonight, Xiaofan said with a smile. Who wants to eat it? I only ate it because I was so hungry that I had nothing else to eat. Xiaofan, why did you come back so late? Naturally, Cheng Menjing would not admit that the food was delicious. Therefore, she changed the topic. There were a lot of customers at noon. I was delayed, Xiaofan said. I didn't eat it myself and came back in a hurry. Huh? It couldn't be, right? You didn't eat it either? Cheng Menjing had just finished the food in her hand. She was dazed for a moment and somewhat touched. But since she had finished the food, she could only say, Beibei, don't eat so much. Leave some for Xiaofan, well. This is the last fried dough twist. Jean Beibei had just stuffed the last fried dough twist into her mouth when she pulled it out again. There was still a line of saliva on it, but it was not disgusting at all. Instead, it was particularly tempting. I haven't eaten it yet. Brother-in-law, here you are. While talking, Jean Beibei gave the fried dough twist with saliva on it to Xiaofan. Xiaofan was immediately rendered speechless. Although he felt that it was quite an erotic thing, he had nothing to do with the lady right now, let alone Jean Beibei. If he took it and ate it, what would be the relationship between Xiaofan and Jean Beibei in the future? It seems that you are not full yet. You should eat it. I'll make some noodles later. Xiaofan said. That's unnecessary. Actually, I'm full. I'm a bit bloated. Jean Beibei touched her abdomen with her other hand and then raised the fried dough twist to Xiaofan. Open your mouth, brother-in-law. Ah. Xiaofan did not know whether to eat it or not. Beibei, your saliva is still on it. Cheng Menjing glared at Jean Beibei. Brother-in-law, you don't like me? Jean Beibei asked pitifully. Xiaofan had no choice but to eat the fried dough twist that Jean Beibei handed to him. Okay. Let's go, shall we? You don't want to eat instant noodles anymore? Cheng Menjing asked. I'm full. Xiaochen did not want to waste any more time on it. It was already past 1:00 in the afternoon. If he stayed any longer, the car store would be closed. Beibei's saliva can fill you up. Cheng Menjing watched Xiaochen enjoying the fried dough twist and felt that he was asking for a beating. Faced with the lady's question, Xiaochen could only pretend that he was innocent. In fact, although the way he ate the fried dough twist was a bit erotic, Xiaochen did not have many thoughts about Jean Beibei. After all, Jean Beibei's deeds in the past were too deeply rooted in his heart. Xiaochen was a fake foppish man, but he was not a real foppish man. Naturally, he would not mess with Jean Beibei for no reason. However, after getting along with her for a few times, he felt that Jean Beibei's personality was not bad. She was not as terrifying as the rumors said. After changing his clothes, Xiaochen left the villa with Cheng Menjing and Jean Beibei. They were sitting in Jean Beibei's beetle, and Xiaochen was sitting in the back seat. With his height, he could already practice the bone-shrinking technique. On the way, Cheng Menjing was discussing with Jean Beibei what kind of car they should buy. "Cousin Menjing, I think we should buy a sports car. It's so cool." Jean Beibei had always been drooling over sports cars. Unfortunately, although Master Jean treasured her, the Jean family did not have much business after all, and Jean Beibei did not have much pocket money. "Can 3 people sit in a sports car? Will you be sitting in the back seat in the future?" Cheng Menjing asked back. "Oh, right. There's also my cousin-in-law." It was not until then that Jean Beibei remembered that Xiaochen was still sitting in the back seat. She had chosen the car based on her previous experience, but there was one more person in the family now. "He's the driver," Cheng Menjing corrected her. "Why don't we buy a Porsche Panamera? It's also a sports car, and it has 4 doors, Jean Beibei suggested. "That's not a bad idea." Cheng Menjing looked a little better after hearing that. She was worried about Xiaochen. In her opinion, the assassins who tried to assassinate Xiaochen the other day were probably sent by the Cheng family. As long as Xiaochen drove and she stayed in the car, it would be impossible for the Cheng family to attack them by force. However, it was inappropriate for her to tell Jean Beibei that, as if she were really concerned about Xiaochen. Jean Beibei had been calling him cousin-in-law in the first place, and she did not want Jean Beibei to confirm their relationship. Jean Beibei parked the Beetle in front of the Porsche dealership, and the 3 of them got out of the car together. To be honest, a Beetle was quite inconspicuous in this place. Therefore, the 3 of them did not attract much attention. It was not until they entered the store that the sharp-eyed manager noticed Xiaochen. "Xiaochen, you're here." He did not know that Xiaochen had been driven out of the family. Xiaochen had bought a Porsche 911 in this store, and he often came here for maintenance. Therefore, the manager was quite familiar with him. It was hard for the people in the secular world to get first-hand information about what happened in the noble families. He had thought that Xiaochen was the young master of the Xiao family and had come to buy a car with 2 beauties. Xiaochen was somewhat embarrassed. But after thinking for a moment, he said, "Hee." "Hello, Manager Wang. I'm here to buy a car. Is there a discount?" Manager Wang was stunned. In his opinion, Xiaochen was not a man who lacked money. The modification cost of his Porsche 911 was more than the cost of the car itself. Why would he ask for a discount? However, Manager Wang seemed to have guessed it. Generally speaking, there were only a few ways for these young masters to show off in front of beauties. They would either spend a lot of money without blinking, or they would show how powerful their social connections were, so that people would respect them wherever they went. In Manager Wang's opinion, Xiaochen should belong to the second way today, which was to let the beauties think that he had a lot of connections and would be respected wherever he went. Thinking of this, Manager Wang quickly said, "Yes, Xiaochen has asked for a discount of 20%. How about it?" To be honest, 20% was not a small amount. It was the highest discount that the manager could make the decision on. Xiao Chen was just asking casually. He did not expect that it would be so cheap. It was a pleasant surprise. Thank you, Manager Wang. However, I am not buying a car today. It is my goddess who is buying a car. Xiao Chen did not know what to call Cheng Menjing. Mistress? That sounded a little silly. So, Xiao Chen suddenly thought of the goddess that Elder Heaven Ancestor had mentioned. Ha, I understand. Manager Wang did not expect that it was not Xiao Chen who wanted to buy a car. Previously, his attention was focused on Xiao Chen. He thought that the woman behind Xiao Chen was just a random female companion. However, now that he looked carefully, it was not the case at all. Weren't they Cheng Menjing from the Cheng family and Jin Beibei from the Jin family? Manager Wang had a set of information on these young masters and princesses in Songning City. His purpose was not to offend these people. After all, these people were his potential customers. So, when he saw the identity of the two beauties, he was shocked. It turns out to be Miss Cheng and Miss Jin. My apologies. May I know what kind of car you are buying? That's the one, the Palamara. Jin Beibei pointed at a car on the display stand not far away and said, "It's a nouveau riche color. It can show my identity." Manager Wang almost laughed out loud. Nouveau riche Jin Beibei? However, he did not dare to laugh. Instead, he felt a little embarrassed. Miss Jean, this car was booked by someone else. I have already paid for it. If you want it, I can book another one for you. As for the price, I can apply for a discount. In fact, if it was a car bought by an ordinary person, Manager Wang would have sold it to Jin Beibei. At most, he would give the real buyer a discount. However, this car was booked by a big shot. Manager Wang could not afford to offend him. Just when Jin Beibei wanted to ask if they could discuss it with him, she heard a familiar voice behind her. Chapter 71. Store Manager Wang, is my car ready? I'm here to pick it up. The person who spoke was actually Chen Jinpeng, who Xiao Chen hadn't seen for a while. Chen Jinpeng didn't have a car in the past. His status in the Chen family was very weak. Even his father didn't support him. How could he have any pocket money? The only way was to follow behind others and be their lackey. That way, they could earn some pocket money. But it was different now. Yesterday, he was confirmed as the third-generation heir of the Chen family. All of a sudden, he went from a nobody to a big shot. So, he came early in the morning to order a sports car. Of course, he entrusted Manager Wang to handle the paperwork for the car, so he agreed to pick it up in the afternoon. It's done. But second young Master Chen, these people are also interested in your car. What do you think? Manager Wang couldn't make the decision, so he could only let them discuss it among themselves. In his opinion, Chen Jinpeng was Xiao Chen's lackey, so he should give him some face. However, what surprised Manager Wang was that when Chen Jinpeng saw Xiao Chen, a sarcastic sneer flashed across his face. Isn't this Xiao Chen? It must be fun being a lackey, isn't it? Xiao Chen's face darkened slightly. He was acting for Chen Jinpeng. To be honest, Xiao Chen really didn't think highly of Chen Jinpeng. Chen Jinpeng, what do you mean? If you know what's good for you, quickly give the car to Miss Cheng. Otherwise. Xiao Chen wanted to laugh when he said these words. He was exactly like the villains in the movies. Ha! Before Xiao Chen could finish, Chen Jinpeng laughed. I say, Xiao Chen, are you crazy? Who are you now? You're just a lackey. How dare you talk to me like this? If I were you, I would find a hole to hide in. Store Manager Wang, give me the keys. I want to drive away. Chen Jinpeng was feeling good about himself now. Although Cheng Menjing and Jin Beibei were here and he had heard the horrible stories about Jin Beibei, in his opinion, he was in the right. He had booked the car first. Why should he give it to Jean Bebe? Besides, Jean Bebe was from the second high school, and he was from the first high school. The two of them had never met before. What was there to be afraid of? Of course, ignorance was bliss. Store manager Wang was also a little stunned. He did not expect Xiao Chen to be scolded by Chen Jinpeng like that. Didn't Chen Jinpeng work behind Xiao Chen in the past? How come there was such a great reversal now? However, store manager Wang was a smart man. Seeing that Xiao Chen did not argue back but stood there with a red face, store manager Wang knew that something must have changed. Also, what Chen Jinpeng said was not far from the truth. Xiao Chen must have fallen from grace and become Cheng Menjiang's or Jean Bebe's lackey. Therefore, store manager Wang dared not piss off Chen Jinpeng at all. He hurried to give the car keys and a set of documents to Chen Jinpeng. Second young Master Chen, all the documents have been taken care of. The license plate is TTT 777 as you requested, too. You don't have to pay for the license plate. Consider it a favor from me, second young Master Chen. In fact, Chen Jinpeng did not bargain at all. Not only did he buy a top-quality car, but he also installed a lot of luxurious facilities. It was safe to say that store manager Wang had earned almost 2 million for this car. Although he had bought the license plate at a high price, it was no more than a few $100,000. Chen Jinpeng said proudly, "Wow, 777, I like it. A slot machine. It indicates that I can win in everything in the future. You've done a good job. However, you need to change the way you address me. My brother has passed away. I am the heir of the Chen family now. Just call me young Master Chen. Don't call me second young master anymore," Chen Jinpeng said proudly. The news that Chen Jinpeng released surprised Xiao Chen, Cheng Menjiang, and Jean Bebe, too. They did not expect that Chen Jinpeng had been promoted. It was normal that Xiao Chen did not know about it. However, Cheng Menjiang and Jean Bebe lived outside. Naturally, their families did not have the time to tell them. "Yes, young Master Chen." Surprise flashed in store manager Wang's eyes. No wonder Chen Jinpeng suddenly became so generous. It turned out that he had become the heir of the Chen family. Then, he had to make good use of this customer. Xiao Chen. "No, sidekick Xiao, I'm leaving." Chen Jinpeng waved the car keys in his hand and walked to his car proudly. "Hee hee, you snatched my car and still acted tough in front of me. Hee hee." Jean Bebe looked at Chen Jinpeng with a smile. Jean Bebe's smile made Chen Jinpeng shudder. However, after thinking about it, he did not take it to heart. "If I don't offend you, what can you do to me? Do you think you can beat me up?" Thinking of this, Chen Jinpeng paid no attention to Jean Bebe. He got into the nouveau riche golden Panamera, started the car, and sped away. "Miss Cheng, Miss Jean, Xiao Chen, I'm sorry. You know that I can't afford to offend any of these people from aristocratic families," store manager Wang said helplessly. However, he had put Xiao Chen at the bottom. Although he was not being disrespectful, it also showed that there was a problem. "It's nothing. I'm not interested in that car. It's too cheap." Cheng Menjiang naturally would not admit her displeasure. "Hee hee, I can't afford it even if it's cheap." Jean Bebe rolled her eyes and said to store manager Wang, "Hey, do you have the car keys? Give me one." "Huh?" Store manager Wang was stunned. He said with a wry smile, "We've given the car keys to Mr. Chen. How can we keep them for ourselves?" "As long as they look the same," Jean Bebe said. "There are some that look the same, but we can't use them. They haven't been matched," store manager Wang explained. "Then can you give me one?" Jean Bebe asked. "That's not a problem. Although a key was expensive, it was only a few thousand yuan. He had earned enough from the car just now. Of course, he did not want to offend Jean Bebe because of such a small matter. Xiao Zhang, go and find a Panamera's key for me. Yes, store manager, an employee answered and went to get the key. Bebe, what do you want this for? Cheng Menjing was a little confused about Jean Bebe's purpose. To show off, Jean Bebe said. Cheng Menjing was a little speechless. Xiao Chen was speechless, too. Store manager Wang was even more speechless. Jean Bebe took the key and was about to leave. Although Cheng Menjing was confused, she still walked out of the car shop with her. Bebe, are we not going to buy a car? No. I like the Tycoon Jean Bebe version. Jean Bebe was very angry. Chen Jinpeng had already angered her. It would have been fine if he did not show off, but he did it in front of her. How could Jean Bebe let him go? All right then. Cheng Menjing saw that Jean Bebe was being stubborn, but there was nothing she could do. Coincidentally, she still had an old car at home. It was an Audi A5. Although it was not a very good car, it was not a problem to use it. However, it would have to wait until they returned to the Cheng family. They left the car shop. Since Chen Jinpeng had disturbed their mood, they went home directly. At the gate of the villa, they found that Yi Xiaoye was planting something in the flower bed. However, Yi Xiaoye's cool image was seriously inconsistent with her image as a gardener. Hey, why did you occupy half of the flower bed again? Although Cheng Menjing was not a gardener, she was immediately angry when she saw that Yi Xiaoye occupied half of the flower bed again without greeting her. She was already unhappy when she was in the car shop, and she was even more unhappy when she saw Yi Xiaoye. I'm sorry. You were not at home just now. Yi Xiaoye replied apologetically, which surprised Cheng Menjing quite a bit. She also felt helpless. She had already greeted her and even apologized. What could she do? You think that's enough? This is a public place. You have to compensate us, don't you? Jean Bebe rolled her eyes. I'm told that my cousin-in-law lent you an electric cooker. Do you still need to return it? No, thanks. Yi Xiaoye was stunned for a moment. She turned around and finally figured out who her cousin-in-law was. She shook her head quickly. However, she was a bit puzzled. Why did Jean Bebe call Xiao Chen cousin-in-law? That's more like it. Jean Bebe returned to the villa in high spirits. Cheng Menjing also felt that her anger had been vented. If she were Jean Bebe, she would probably have no choice but to accept it. She did not have as many weird ideas as Jean Bebe did. Although Xiao Chen had gained some benefits, Xiao Chen was on her side no matter what. After returning to the villa, Xiao Chen went to his room to brew medicine, while Cheng Menjing and Jean Bebe went upstairs to play something. The second dose of medicine was about to be used up. Xiao Chen had a headache. The third dose of medicine was not as simple as 10,000 yuan, but 20,000 yuan. Although the breakfast stall was profitable, it was not so profitable, right? Fortunately, the school exam was coming. If he got the first place, he could get a scholarship. However, there was still a gap of 10,000 yuan, which gave Xiao Chen a headache. But no matter what, he had to take care of the things in front of him first. Xiao Chen poured out the medicine he had brewed and drank it up. Then, he began to refine the medicine in his stomach. When Xiao Chen was about to refine the medicine calmly, a warm current suddenly surged in Xiao Chen's dantian. In the beginning, Xiao Chen did not take it seriously. However, as Xiao Chen refined the medicine, it became hotter and hotter, which startled Xiao Chen immediately. It was not the first time that he refined the medicine, but the feeling this time was completely different. Although he had felt this kind of warmth before, it was really a very comfortable warmth. However, it was completely different today. The heat had become burning, roasting Xiao Chen's dantian and tendons. Xiao Chen could even feel his body making a sizzling sound when roasting meat, which made Xiao Chen very scared. Elder Heaven Ancestor, something is wrong. I feel that I'm going to be cooked. Xiao Chen asked anxiously, but he did not dare to stop the circulation of the mental cultivation method. Who knew whether something more horrible would happen if he stopped? Something is indeed wrong. The voice of Elder Heaven Ancestor made Xiao Chen's heart cold. What did he mean by, something is indeed wrong? Did something go wrong with my cultivation? Chapter 72. Should I stop now? Xiao Chen asked. Don't stop if you don't want to be killed by the backfire. Elder Heaven Ancestor warned him solemnly. Xiao Chen was speechless. If he stopped, he would die. If he didn't stop, he would die. What should he do? This is the sign of breaking through to the third level of the Qi refinement stage. But it shouldn't be. You have only taken 2 doses of medicine. It's not scientific. Elder Heaven Ancestor murmured to himself in confusion. Breaking through? Xiao Chen was relieved. It turns out that I am going to break through. Xiao Chen thought he was going to die. Xiao Chen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Can't you finish your words in one breath? Not scientific? Since when were cultivators scientific? Thinking of this, Xiao Chen endured the burning sensation on his body and continued to circulate the mantra. Xiao Chen's body was like a piece of charcoal, slowly turning scarlet red, and the clothes on his body also emitted wisps of green smoke. As time went by, the heat on Xiao Chen's body became higher and higher. His clothes also turned into ashes. In Xiao Chen's dantian, there was a huge energy that could destroy the world. It was like the magma before the eruption of a volcano, which could burst out at any time. However, due to these side effects, Xiao Chen could even clearly feel that his divine sense and spiritual strength were strengthening at a very fast speed. He seemed to have a panoramic view of everything in the villa. Cheng Menjing and Jean Beibei were playing tablets in the room, while Yi Xiaoya. Yi Xiaoya came downstairs and was walking to his room. What is this girl going to do? Is she a thief? Seeing Yi Xiaoya tiptoeing like a female cat burglar, Xiao Chen felt a little strange. In particular, when she came to his room, Xiao Chen was even more frightened. He was currently cultivating. Could she have discovered something? Currently, Xiao Chen was the only one who knew the secret of his cultivation. He didn't want anyone else to know about it for the time being. However, with his current state, he couldn't hide it even if he wanted to. He simply couldn't stop. The medicine in his abdomen turned into a trace of warmth and flowed into his dantian. Xiao Chen was shocked and anxious. When he returned to his room, he didn't lock the door because there was no need to. The eldest miss never came to his room. But who would have thought that Yi Xiaoya would come? Boom! Just when Xiao Chen didn't know what to do, he felt a loud noise coming from his body. The heat energy in his dantian suddenly erupted like a volcano, pouring into the meridians of his entire body. Warmth flowed through his body. At this moment, Xiao Chen suddenly felt that his body was a lot lighter, as if it was completely different. It was as if the current Xiao Chen was no longer the Xiao Chen of the past. That feeling was like a butterfly breaking out of its cocoon, a carp leaping over the dragon gate. In that instant, the heat disappeared without a trace. At this moment, the door of Xiao Chen's room was pushed open. Yi Xiaoya looked into the room with a frown. When she saw Xiao Chen's naked body, she blushed and screamed. Ah! Yi Xiaoya screamed and closed the door of Xiao Chen's room with a bang. Are you streaking? Hearing Yi Xiaoya's scream, Cheng Menjing and Jean Beibei were a bit puzzled. However, they ran downstairs quickly to watch the fun and saw Yi Xiaoya standing at the door of Xiao Chen's room with a flushed face. Her chest was heaving up and down, and no one knew what she was doing. Hey, what are you doing? Are you trying to scare me to death? Do you have any sense of civility? This is everyone's villa, not yours. Cheng Menjing was angry when she saw Yi Xiaoya, but she was happy when she saw Yi Xiaoya's abnormal behavior. Control your servant. Doesn't she know how to behave? Streaking in the house? Yi Xiaoya snorted and said coldly. Streaking in the house? Cheng Menjing was stunned. Xiao Chen was naked at home? Judging from Yi Xiaoya's look, it didn't seem that she was talking nonsense. At this moment, Xiao Chen had changed his clothes. He pushed the door open and walked out. Hearing Yi Xiaoya's words, he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I said I was changing my clothes in the room. You suddenly pushed the door open and scolded me? Don't you change your clothes in your room? Last time I saw you, you seemed to be wearing a yoga suit, right? Not this one, right? Yi Xiaoya was a bit confused just now, and her mind couldn't keep up. At this moment, after hearing Xiao Chen's words, she remembered that Xiao Chen was naked in his room. Was there anything wrong with that? He did push the door open and enter by himself. Thinking of this, Yi Xiaoya felt a bit embarrassed. Why did she feel that she was complaining first? Cousin Menjing, it turns out that this chick is a prostitute. You should be careful. I heard that many prostitutes are attracted to both men and women. We are still virgins. Don't be harmed by her. Jean Bebe stared at Yi Xiaoya with an unkind expression. I just felt that your room was very hot, so I came here to see if there was any problem. Yi Xiaoya stammered. Just now, she sensed a special energy, which was similar to when she made a breakthrough in cultivation. She was very surprised, so she came here to have a look. She felt that it should be Xiao Chen's room, but she didn't expect that Xiao Chen was naked. As a result, her mind went blank when she pushed the door open and she even forgot her purpose of coming here. When she calmed down, the special energy had already disappeared. When Xiao Chen pushed open the door of his room, a strong smell of medicine drifted out. I was decocting medicine in my room. Of course it's hot. Thank you for the electric cooker. Well. I see. Then I'm leaving. Yi Xiaoya looked at Xiao Chen and felt that there was nothing special about him. She shook her head inwardly. Was her feeling wrong? Cousin Menjing, look at this prostitute. She seems to feel guilty. We have to be more careful in the future. Jean Bebe said. Cheng Menjing naturally didn't think that Yi Xiaoya was a prostitute. She always felt that Yi Xiaoya was a strange person. However, it was quite refreshing to see her being humiliated in front of Jean Bebe. Xiao Chen, what does she want to do? Cheng Menjing looked at Xiao Chen and felt that he seemed to be a bit different all of a sudden. However, she really couldn't tell what was different. How would I know? Xiao Chen shrugged with a bitter smile. Maybe it's because the door of my room is too hot. Yi Xiaoya thinks that something is going on inside. Oh. Cheng Menjing nodded and said, lock the door next time. Yi Xiaoya is weird. She doesn't work or go to school during the day. Who knows where she is from? Got it. Hee hee. Xiao Chen smiled. In fact, he also felt that Yi Xiaoya was quite weird. Not only was there a bitter fruit in the fridge, but she also planted a lot of herbs outside the villa. He wondered what she was for. Cheng Menjing did not say anything else and went upstairs with Jean Bebe. Xiao Chen, on the other hand, returned to his room and sat on the bed. He sensed the situation in the villa with his mind again, but the panoramic feeling was gone. Xiao Chen could no longer see what the people in the villa were doing, but he could still hear their voices clearly. Xiao Chen was more or less disappointed. The feeling just now was too good. If only he could peep at the lady when she was taking a bath. What was he thinking? Xiao Chen felt that he was afraid that the lady would drown and that he could save her in time. That was all. Elder Heaven Ancestor, I'm. Xiao Chen was not sure about his status. Xiao Chen, something is really wrong with you. You are already a cultivator in the third level of the refinement stage. Don't you feel anything? Elder Heaven Ancestor's voice was full of weirdness. I do feel something is different. Xiaochen nodded. However, it's not that much stronger. I only felt good when I broke through to the third level. That's when you broke through. It's much stronger. You are just in the third level of the refinement stage. How much stronger do you want to be? Elder Heaven Ancestor said angrily, I took 5 sets of medicinal materials to break through to the third level of the refinement stage. I was already a genius. But you only took 2 sets. So I'm a super genius in the universe? Xiaochen said. It's a sign of Qigong deviation, Elder Heaven Ancestor said. Puff, ahem. Xiaochen thought he was a super genius. How could it be a sign of Qigong deviation? Forget it. What you cultivate is different from what I cultivate. I cultivate forward, while you cultivate backward. That's why it's possible that you don't even use a single medicinal herb. But if this goes on, it's hard to say whether or not you'll go berserk. Elder Heaven Ancestor's voice carried a hint of worry. But there is no turning back. No matter what, you can only continue to practice like this. Then can you not scare me in the future? Can you give me some encouragement? I'm afraid of Qigong deviation every day. Xiaochen was a little speechless. No matter what, it was already an established fact. It couldn't be changed. Why was he still trying to scare him? Then you are a genius. Elder Heaven Ancestor encouraged him. Xiaochen, in any case, Xiaochen was now a real Qi refinement stage level 3 cultivator. His strength was equivalent to a level 3 inner force warrior. In Elder Heaven Ancestor's words, he was slightly stronger. This filled Xiaochen with fighting spirit. Among the younger generation of the aristocratic families in Songning City, the most powerful ones were level 3 inner force warriors. Of course, there might be some who hid their strength. But on the surface, level 3 inner force warriors were already very powerful, like Chen Jinkuan. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been favored by the Shen family. Xiaochen really wanted to punch the wall. However, this villa was not his, and he could not afford to pay for it if the wall was broken. Furthermore, he did not want to attract too much attention, so he could only find an opportunity to give it a try. Xiaochen, you seem to be very confident now. Elder Heaven Ancestor saw Xiaochen's eagerness to try. Chapter 73. In the past, I didn't have the strength, so I couldn't find a way to hide. But now, I'm afraid that if I meet those 2 warriors again, I can kill them, right? Xiaochen said confidently. If it's 1-on-1, you can, but if it's 2-on-1, you'll definitely die. Elder Heaven Ancestor poured cold water on him. F***ck, then what kind of advantage does a cultivator have? Xiaochen rolled his eyes. Only in other aspects. For example, you can predict the opponent's movements. When the opponent is about to punch, you can capture this information the moment he lifts his arm, and then react accordingly. Elder Heaven Ancestor said, in this way, you'll have the upper hand. In the third level of refinement stage, your eyes and ears are more intelligent, and your perception is more powerful. Even if you don't deliberately observe, you'll still be aware of your opponent's every move. Of course, it's still impossible to have a powerful perception like when you just broke through. Oh. If that's the case, even if I'm facing a stage 4 inner force martial artist, I can predict his moves in advance. Even if I can't win, I can still protect myself? Xiaochen asked, but didn't you already have this advantage when you were at stage 2 of the Qi refinement stage? I have reached the second level of the Qi refinement stage, but it's not that obvious. The most important thing is your body's agility. Don't you feel that you've been reborn? Elder Heaven Ancestor said, for cultivators, the second level of refinement stage and the third level of refinement stage is a watershed. It can be said that as long as you have some spiritual roots, you can cultivate. But, it's not so easy to step into the third level from the second level of refinement stage. This will eliminate most people. Even if these people drink the elixir for a year, they still won't be able to break through to the third level. So that's how it is. Xiaochen nodded. Indeed, his body now felt as light as a swallow. He was much more flexible than before. He tried to wave his fist and kick a few times. Suddenly, his face showed an astonished expression. He was performing a set of martial arts fist and leg techniques. However, the movements that he couldn't perform before were now easily performed. Although it seemed like a few casual punches and kicks, even a 7th or 8th level inner force warrior couldn't do it casually. This was a very complex and strict test of the body's coordination and flexibility. Xiaochen didn't expect that his body's coordination and flexibility had reached a level that surprised him. Now, after you predict the enemy's moves, you can instantly order your body to complete some incredible movements to avoid the attack. But, a second level of refinement stage can't do it. Even if you predict it, you won't be able to avoid it. Elder Heaven Ancestor explained. So that's how it is. That's right, didn't they say that every level of a cultivator has a special ability? Then, what kind of special ability does a third level of refinement stage have? Xiaochen was looking forward to this. Who told you that every level has a special ability? But the third level of refinement stage does have it. I've already transmitted these abilities to your mind. You can check it yourself. Elder Heaven Ancestor said. That's right. Xiaochen quickly searched his mind for the description of a cultivator's special ability given to him by Elder Heaven Ancestor. He found the third level of refinement stage. Illusion, these two words reflected in Xiaochen's eyes. But, what is this illusion? Elder Heaven Ancestor, how do I use this illusion? The so-called illusion is actually an illusion that gives people an illusion, similar to magic or mirage. Elder Heaven Ancestor said, this is commonly used in battles. Not all cultivators can use illusion. You have this ability because you have cultivated the Heaven's Fortune battle art. This ability is also very powerful. For example, when you are fighting with someone, you can create an illusion of punching, but in fact, you are punching. In this way, if the opponent is confused by you, your goal will be achieved. F***ck, that's awesome. After listening, Xiaochen was a little surprised. Then, in the future, even if I meet a stronger opponent, I can still use the illusion. As long as he is fooled, I can sneak attack him. That's impossible. The illusion can only affect people with the same strength as you. If the opponent is slightly stronger, it may work, but if the opponent is too strong, it will basically be useless. Elder Heaven Ancestor said, moreover, the duration of the effect can't be too long. Depending on the strength of the opponent, it will only be a few seconds or a few seconds. And you have to pay a lot of physical strength and true qi. You can't use all your strength to constantly create the illusion, right? That's true. After listening, Xiaochen suddenly felt disappointed. In that case, this thing is similar to the ability to affect the mind of others. There is nothing special. That's not the same. Elder Heaven Ancestor explained, affecting the mind of others is a passive influence. You can only affect one person at a time. But the illusion is an active influence. When you create the illusion, the number of people who see it will affect the number of people. The two are not the same concept. Is that so? Xiaochen nodded. But it seems a bit useless. If the opponent is too strong, it will be useless. If the opponent is not strong, I don't need to use it. You are only at the third level of refinement stage. What good ability can you have? Don't be too ambitious. It's already good to have achieved what you have now. When you become a higher level cultivator, think about other things. Elder Heaven Ancestor also felt that the ability in the early stage of refinement stage was not very useful. He threw out this bait just to urge Xiaochen to practice. I will work hard and strive to enter the 4th level of refinement stage as soon as possible. After listening to the words of Elder Heaven Ancestor, Xiaochen was a little excited. Although the ability of the 3rd level of refinement stage was not very useful in battle, it was already very powerful for ordinary people. Of course, he was looking forward to the ability after the 4th level. Wouldn't it be even more powerful? If you want to enter the 4th level, it will not be easy. In a place where the spiritual energy is thin, you will need to rely on the support of elixirs. Elder Heaven Ancestor reminded. I will give you another prescription. You will still need to decoct and take it according to the current method. 3 days as a cycle. Of course, I can't say how many elixirs you will need. Your situation is a bit special, so I will calculate when you break through. I still need to buy elixirs? Xiaochen's excitement suddenly cooled down. Originally, he thought that he was a genius. With 2 elixirs, he would no longer need to worry about money. But he didn't expect that this was just the beginning. Although he didn't need the previous elixirs, he changed them. Nonsense. Cultivation is a path that goes against the heavens. If you can cultivate by just sitting there, then this world would already be a world of cultivators. Elder Heaven Ancestor snorted. Xiaochen was a little embarrassed. He also felt that his thinking was too simple. Yes, if cultivation was so easy, then what was so great about it? However, after Xiaochen took a look at the prescription that Elder Heaven Ancestor gave him, he almost fainted. Xiaochen didn't know how much the other elixirs were worth, but the 2 bitter fruits made Xiaochen want to cry but have no tears. One of these elixirs was worth a lot. Wouldn't 2 elixirs cost his life? Xiaochen didn't expect the grandpa in the pharmacy to give him another discount. That was not realistic. He was not related to them. These 2 elixirs were already very helpful to him. Now, Xiaochen could only pin his hopes on tomorrow's mock exam. But even if he was the first in his cohort, he would only get a scholarship of 10,000 yuan. There was still a big gap. How much did this elixir cost? Xiaochen also didn't know. Thinking of this, Xiaochen decided to inquire about the market. With a goal, it would be easier to raise money. Xiaochen put on his coat and went out of the villa. As soon as he went out, he saw Yi Xiaoye watering the flowers in front of the garden. Yi Xiaoye also saw Xiaochen. She looked at him strangely, hesitated, and asked, "What medicine do you decoct every day?" "Medicine to strengthen the body." "What's wrong?" asked Xiaochen. "Strengthen the body? I don't see anything wrong with you." "What's wrong with you?" Yi Xiaoye felt that Xiaochen seemed to be perfunctory with her. "There's something wrong with my body. I couldn't cultivate internal strength since I was a child. My father gave me a prescription and asked me to take it often. Maybe I can cultivate internal strength and become a martial artist." Xiaochen said, "This is not a secret. If you are from Songning City, you will know the name of the useless young master of the Xiao family." Yi Xiaoye listened to Xiaochen's words. She felt that she seemed to be a little bit narrow-minded. It seemed that Xiaochen was quite famous. Otherwise, these things could be easily found out. Xiaochen didn't need to lie. "Is there any effect?" "Not yet." Xiaochen shook his head. In fact, Xiaochen didn't lie to Yi Xiaoye. He really hadn't cultivated internal strength, but he had cultivated qi. "Oh." Yi Xiaoye hesitated. She seemed to have something to say, but she didn't say it. She lowered her head and continued watering. She ignored Xiaochen. If Yi Xiaoye didn't talk to him, Xiaochen naturally wouldn't take the initiative to look for Yi Xiaoye. In Xiaochen's view, Yi Xiaoye was a very strange person. Since she had something like the bitter fruit, she obviously knew about it. Then the probability of her discovering his secret had increased a lot. Xiaochen couldn't let her discover anything. Quickly running to the mysterious pharmacy, Xiaochen pushed the door and went in. "Hey! It's you again." Hong Yan didn't expect Xiaochen to come again. Did he come to buy that strange medicine? However, although she was curious, she didn't ask much. Instead, she said, "Wait, I'll call Grandpa." "Thank you." Xiaochen nodded politely. After all, the grandfather and grandson of this pharmacy were good to him. "Young man, you're here to buy medicine again? However, this time it's a deal, it's 20,000 yuan. The old man walked out from behind, glanced at Xiaochen, and said. Chapter 74. Grandpa, this time I. Xiaochen hesitated and said, "The medicine I want to buy this time is different from the previous 2 times. "Oh? Different?" The old man's eyes flashed with curiosity. "Let me have a look." Xiaochen handed the prescription that he had copied to the old man and said respectfully, "Grandpa, can you help me take a look? How much does this medicine cost?" The old man's eyes glanced at the prescription. He clicked his tongue and raised his eyebrows slightly. "Young man, this medicine is not cheap." "I know. There are 2 bitter fruit." Xiaochen nodded with a bitter smile. To be honest, in his opinion, if the previous medicine cost 20,000, this medicine would cost at least 40,000. In this medicine, in addition to the bitter fruit, this bone-quenching grass is not cheap either. The old man pointed to Xiaochen's prescription and said, "This bone-quenching grass is sold for 100,000. 100,000? Xiaochen had an urge to cry. He thought that 40,000 would be enough. Now it became 140,000 all of a sudden. Where can I get this money? However, Xiaochen was too embarrassed to bring up the matter of discounts again. This is a medicine used by high-level martial artists when they train their physique. What are you using it for? Are you also a martial artist? The old man's eyes were like a sharp arrow, shooting at Xiaochen. He wanted to see Xiaochen's background. However, in the eyes of Mr. Chen, Xiaochen was not a martial artist. He did not have the aura of a martial artist. In other words, he hid it too well. Of course, if Xiaochen could hide his strength so well at his current age, it meant that he was really terrifying. A high-level martial artist trains his physique? Xiaochen was also stunned after hearing it. He was not a martial artist. Why would he use something that was used to train martial arts? Martial artists use the bone-quenching grass to temper their bones to increase the hardness of their bones. Cultivators use the bone-quenching grass to temper their bones to lay the foundation for higher levels of cultivation in the future. The elder heaven ancestor's voice rang in Xiaochen's ears, explaining to Xiaochen, both of them have similar uses, they both increase the quality of the body. So that was the case. Xiaochen nodded his head secretly. However, Xiaochen's previous days made old Mr. Chen hesitate. Looking at Xiaochen's appearance, he didn't look like an advanced martial artist. Moreover, which advanced martial artist would be so poor? Even if I give you all the other herbs, the bitter fruit will be sold for 20,000 yuan each, and I'll give you a 20% discount on the bone-tempering grass. It's still 120,000 yuan in total. This is not a small number. Are you sure you want to buy the herbs on this prescription? Mr. Chen looked at Xiaochen. If this prescription is useless to you, I think you'd better not waste your money. 120,000 yuan. Xiaochen clenched his teeth. Old mister, I will try my best to gather enough. See you later. After saying that, Xiaochen turned around and left the pharmacy without saying anything else. He knew that Mr. Chen wanted to get information from him, but there were some things that Xiaochen couldn't say to anyone. What an interesting kid. Mr. Chen looked at Xiaochen's back and smiled faintly. Grandpa Chen, isn't the bone-tempering grass 1,000,000 yuan each? Why is it selling for 100,000 yuan with a 20% discount? Hong Yan felt that Grandpa Chen took special care of Xiao Chen. Hee, our Hong Merchant Association can sell the same thing for 10,000 yuan or 1,000,000 yuan. Mr. Chen smiled. Grandpa Chen, do you mean that we treat people according to their preferences? But doesn't our Hong Merchant Association uphold honor? Hong Yan was a little puzzled. Honor means that we must find a way to do what we promised others. Mr. Chen said, as for the price, sometimes it's a kind of emotional investment. Hong Yan understands. Hong Yan nodded, not really understanding. In a private room of a small bar near the second middle school, Lu Jinming and Yu Xiaochuan sat opposite each other. Young Master Kun, didn't you say that you would help me kill that Xiao Chen? This kid, I get annoyed when I see him. When can I kill him? Lu Jinming was really a little anxious. He didn't kill Xiao Chen on his side, so he could only pin his hope on Yu Xiaochuan. Don't be impatient. Yu Xiaochuan waved and said. To be honest, he didn't want Xiao Chen to die. It was not easy to send the fat girl Tang Tang out. If Xiao Chen died, wouldn't Tang Tang come back again? However, it was impossible for him to tell this kind of thing to Lu Jinming. If he said it, Lu Jinming would definitely despise him. How could he be his younger brother? Therefore, he had to pay attention to strategy. Fortunately, he was a person who planned before taking action. He had already investigated the background of Xiao Chen. Lanyi, do you know who this Xiao Chen is? Yu Xiaochuan asked faintly. Who? Lu Jinming was stunned. Who can he be? What kind of background does he have? He is Cheng Menjing's fiancé. Yu Xiaochuan dropped a bombshell. Puff. Lu Jinming just drank a mouthful of beer, and he spat it directly on Yu Xiaochuan's face. Yu Xiaochuan originally wanted to show off, but he didn't expect to be spat on his face. He suddenly became speechless. Ugh. Young Master Kun, I'm sorry, that. I was scared by you. Your joke is really. Lu Jinming picked up a tissue apologetically. Let me help you wipe it. No need. Yu Xiaochuan waved his hand and said, I didn't lie to you. Xiao Chen's identity is the young master of the Xiao family. What? Lu Jinming's eyes widened, and he looked at Yu Xiaochuan incredulously. Young Master Kun, are you saying that Xiao Chen is the good-for-nothing who was kicked out of the Xiao family? Yes. Yu Xiaochuan nodded. Although Yu Xiaochuan hadn't investigated the matter of Xiao Chen and Cheng Menjing living together, Xiao Chen's identity was easy to investigate, especially for the children of aristocratic families like them. So, Xiao Chen can't be killed. His identity is very sensitive. The Cheng family didn't do it. If you do it, won't you embarrass the Cheng family? Especially when you are still pursuing Cheng Menjing. That's true. I really didn't expect that Xiao Chen is the young master of the Xiao family. I thought he was a canon from the mountains. Lu Jinming was surprised. No wonder Cheng Menjing was so excited when she saw me beating Xiao Chen. It turned out to be this reason. Lu Jinming thought that Cheng Menjing wanted Xiao Chen to be unlucky. So, Xiao Chen can't die yet. But if you want to vent your anger, I can help you. Yu Xiaochuan said. But, if this guy doesn't die, can I catch up with Cheng Menjing? When Lu Jinming heard Xiao Chen's identity, he wanted Xiao Chen to die even more. He has been with Tang Tang. What does it have to do with Cheng Menjing? Yu Xiaochuan frowned. Look at how poor he is. He can only find Tang Tang, a broken shoe that I don't want. Do you think Cheng Menjing will like him? That's true. Lu Jinming thought that Yu Xiaochuan's words were quite reasonable. Then how can I vent my anger? What does Xiao Chen lack the most now? As far as I know, Xiao Chen and Tang Tang go to the morning market every day to sell breakfast. I think he is poor to a certain extent. Yu Xiaochuan said, at this time, if we let him spend a lot of money, will he vomit blood because of heartache? Sometimes, a mental blow is more painful than killing a person. We have to torture him to feel good. That's true, but how can we let him spend money? Lu Zhenming asked modestly. Well, you ask Xiaochen to come out and tell him that I want to treat him to a meal. At that time, you can see my arrangements. Yu Xiaochuan ordered. A meal? Young Master Kun, do you want to order a table full of expensive dishes and then let Xiaochen pay the bill? This won't do. This trick won't work. Xiaochen, that brat, is very cunning. I used this trick last time, and in the end, I lost hundreds of thousands. Lu Zhenming felt his heart ache just thinking about it. Lu Zi, why don't you say that you can't do it? What if I do it? Come closer, I'll talk to you. Yu Xiaochuan waved to Lu Zhenming. Lu Zhenming quickly came over and listened to Yu Xiaochuan's plan. Lu Zhenming suddenly slapped the table and said, this is good. Let's see if Xiaochen can still act shamelessly. Young Master Kun is more skilled. Okay, you can go. Yu Xiaochuan nodded proudly. In the early morning of the next day, Xiaochen got up to make money. 120,000 yuan. Xiaochen was excited when he thought about it. He was so excited that he wanted to cry. Hey! What kind of costume are you wearing? Uniform seduction or cosplay? Xiaochen came to the aunt's grocery store and saw Tang Tang, who was dressed as a little cook. He was suddenly stunned. Isn't this because our breakfast stall is popular? I think it might be online, so I prepared the dress in advance so that others won't think it's not formal. Tang Tang said, I also bought a set for you. It's mainly because I go to school every day, and my body is a little uncomfortable. There weren't so many fried dough sticks before, and the smell wasn't so strong. Now my body is very uncomfortable every day. Well, how much did it cost? Xiaochen looked at Tang Tang taking out a set of chef's clothes and put it in front of him. He felt a burst of heartache. Instant kill, 120 yuan for 2 sets, a couple's chef's suit. Tang Tang said. Puff, this thing also has a couple's suit? Xiaochen's heart was bleeding. 1/1000th of the medicine was gone. Well, put it on. Today, we welcome our good business with a new look. Tang Tang said. Okay. Xiaochen nodded and put on the chef's suit. Then, he went to the morning street with Xiaochen and began a busy day. Sure enough, the costumes of Xiaochen and Tang Tang attracted a lot of tourists in the morning street. Their business was better than usual. Of course, many people came to watch the fun, but they would definitely become repeat customers after they tried the fried dough sticks made by Xiaochen. Little Tang, give me 5 pounds of fried dough sticks and 10 bowls of soy milk. A middle-aged woman dressed fashionably came to the breakfast stall. She was the owner of a small hotel nearby. She was a regular customer of the breakfast stall. She bought breakfast for the hotel's guests every day, so she bought more things every day. Before Xiaochen came, she was very familiar with Tang Tang. Tang Tang gave her a discount every time. Chapter 75. Hee, Auntie Sue, okay, please wait a moment. Tang Tang responded with a smile. It's okay, I'm not in a hurry. Auntie Sue nodded, and then chatted with a woman who was buying fried dough sticks next to her. The two people obviously knew each other and were familiar with each other. Oh, old Sue, isn't your husband a taxi driver? There's a good thing, here's an advertisement list for you. What advertisement list? The woman named Old Sue took the advertisement list and glanced at it. Dog search notice? Bonus of 100,000? Is this for real? So much money? A rich woman playing mahjong in the mahjong house next to my hotel lost her dog, and she was so worried. What's 100,000 for rich people? In their eyes, dogs are more important than people. Auntie Sue nagged, "This old woman also wrongly said that my guest took away her dog, and she even went to the police. What kind of person is she? Is she great just because she's rich? Oh. What dog, 100,000. The speaker was unintentional, but the listener was interested. Xiaofan, who was frying the fried dough sticks, shook his hand slightly, raised his head, and pretended to ask as if nothing had happened. I don't know what dog it is. These rich people really don't care about money. How long do you think it will take to earn 100,000 by selling breakfast here? These people will be thrown out in the blink of an eye. Auntie Sue said, showing the advertisement list in her hand and shaking it in front of Xiaofan's eyes. It turned out that it was an adult Tibetan Mastiff. No wonder the bonus was 100,000. It was impossible to get so much money for an ordinary puppy. Xiaofan glanced at it and remembered the contact number on it. But after hearing Auntie Sue's words, he looked at Tang Tang and smiled bitterly. 100,000 was nothing for Xiaofan and Tang Tang in the past. However, both of them were people who could take it and let it go. Tang Tang smiled and said, "The money is his own. We can't control how he wants to spend it. Hee, Auntie Sue, here's your fried dough sticks and soy milk." "That's right, little Tang, here's the money." Auntie Sue took the fried dough sticks and soy milk and quickly left the breakfast stall. 100,000. An imperceptible excitement flashed through Xiaofan's eyes. Looking for a dog? If he didn't have the experience of finding a bracelet for Miss Hua, Xiaofan wouldn't dare to accept this task, but now, Xiaofan felt that he should give it a try. In the blink of an eye, it was time to pack up. Xiaofan and Tang Tang parked the tricycle and went to school. But when they were about to reach the school gate, Xiaofan suddenly said, "By the way, Tang Tang, I forgot to bring a pencil and eraser. I'll buy them. You go to school first." "Okay, but at this time, the culture and education store should not be open yet. You have to go to the morning market street to buy," Tang Tang said. "Don't worry, isn't the exam starting at 10 o'clock today? There's still time." Xiaofan smiled and said, "Help me take my bag back first." Today was the day of the mock test. The test would be held at 10 o'clock. There would be one subject in the morning and one subject in the afternoon. There was still one more day tomorrow. "Okay, don't be late. Don't forget that you are going for the scholarship," Tang Tang reminded him. "Don't worry, I can't be late for the sake of money." Xiaofan nodded. After saying goodbye to Tang Tang, Xiaofan ran back to the morning market street. He was not going to buy a pencil and eraser. How could he forget such a big thing as the exam? He still counted on the scholarship to buy medicine, although it was a drop in the bucket for him now. However, Xiaofan did not directly contact the rich woman who lost the dog. Instead, he went to a small stall in the morning market street, intending to buy a mask. Looking at the dazzling array of masks, Xiaofan looked at his own attire and casually picked a white fox mask. Just now, Xiaofan did not take off his chef's suit, but he did not want to expose his identity as a chef, so he got a white fox mask with the white coat on his body, which was quite cool. The chef's outfit that Tang Tang got from the internet was actually not a real chef's outfit, but a cosplay style, which was very tight. With this mask, no one would think of him as a chef. Xiaofan did not intend to expose his identity for the time being. He could sell breakfast, but if he helped someone find the dog and found it, what would the Cheng family think? Would they doubt him? These were the things that Xiaofan must consider. After buying the mask, Xiaofan bought a SIM card from a stall that sold network cards. Now there were a lot of these foreign phone cards, such as a 5 yuan package, a few hundred minutes of text messages, a few hundred megabytes of data, and so on. Although he did not know where it came from, this person had been selling it in the morning market for so long, and no one came back to ask for a refund. Instead, there were many repeat customers, which showed that it was not fake. Xiao Chen spent 200 yuan to buy a card, asked the person to help cut it into the size of an apple, and stuffed it into his iPhone. Although Xiao Chen was famous in the area where he sold breakfast, the back of the morning market street was selling daily necessities. There was no intersection with those who sold breakfast in the front, so naturally, it was impossible for them to know Xiao Chen. After that, Xiao Chen found a place where there was no one, put on the white fox mask on his face, and dialed the number of the rich woman. "Who is calling me so early? I'm so sleepy." It took a long time for the old woman to answer the phone. Obviously, she had not woken up yet. "Do you want to find the dog?" Xiao Chen did not talk nonsense with her, and asked directly. "Ah. Do you know the whereabouts of my blackie?" The rich woman obviously woke up at once, and asked eagerly, "Don't worry, as long as the clues you provide are valuable, the 100,000 yuan will not be less. I'm a detective. If you want to find the dog, tell me where you are." "Let's talk face to face," said Xiao Chen. "Oh, okay, my house is in the Huashuyan Villa District, Area D, Building 9. The rich woman quickly reported the address of her house, but she did not think that Xiao Chen was here to rob her. Not to mention that there were security patrols in the community during the day. Even in his house, there were servants, drivers, and gardeners. Huashuyan Villa District. Xiao Chen was slightly stunned. "Isn't this the community where I live?" Xiao Chen also paid attention to the name of this community at that time. Huashuyan was a real estate developed by a large development company in the province. Almost every city in the province had a flagship villa district. "Okay, wait for me. I'll go now." "Okay, then I'll wait for you," said the rich woman quickly. Obviously, her family's puppy was very important to her. Wearing the mask, Xiao Chen ran all the way back to the villa district. Of course, although Xiao Chen's weird outfit attracted a lot of attention from passers-by, there was no one who made a fuss about it. In this day and age, people were used to seeing cosplay and extras. There was even Sun Wukong buying train tickets. What was Xiao Chen? When Xiao Chen ran into the community, a red beetle passed by Xiao Chen. Jean Beibei pointed at Xiao Chen outside the car and shouted excitedly, "Oh my god! Cousin Menjiang, look at the white fox spirit." Cheng Menjiang glanced at him and said disapprovingly, "A minor actor. What's there to see?" Jean Beibei stayed at home the previous day, and they went to school together this morning. However, his back is very familiar. "I feel like I've seen him somewhere before," Jean Beibei said doubtfully as she watched Xiao Chen run far away. "Maybe he's from this community. Otherwise, how did he get in without an access card?" Cheng Menjiang didn't think too much about it. "Oh." Jean Beibei started the car. Naturally, Xiao Chen also saw the young mistress and Jean Beibei's car. However, he didn't dare to stop. If he was recognized, his disguise would be in vain. When they arrived at the door of the villa in District D, Building 9, Xiao Chen rang the doorbell. Soon, a fashionably dressed rich woman walked out. She looked very young. Xiao Chen felt that it was inappropriate for such a young rich woman to dress like this. However, when the rich woman saw Xiao Chen at the door, she was shocked and exclaimed, "You? Who are you? Let me introduce myself. My nickname is White Fox. I'm here to help you find your dog." Xiao Chen introduced himself. Mr. White Fox. Why are you dressed like this?" The rich woman felt that Xiao Chen looked a little weird. "Can you take off your mask? Are you looking for the dog or me?" Xiao Chen asked coldly. Of course, I'm looking for the dog." If it were any other time, the rich woman might have chased Xiao Chen out. She must have thought that Xiao Chen was a liar. However, the dog had been missing for a day, and there was still no news. Her husband was the boss of a company. He had many social engagements and had mistresses outside. She didn't have children yet. She only had Blackie to rely on. It could be said that Blackie was like her son. Hence, she wouldn't give up as long as there was a glimmer of hope. "Okay, but we have to talk about the price first," said Xiaochen. "Don't worry. Since I released the advertisement, I won't go back on my word," the rich woman said quickly. She didn't care about the mask anymore. "As for the price, 100,000 is a little low." Xiaochen shook his head. "Then, how much does Mr. White Fox want?" The rich woman frowned slightly. She wondered if this person was a liar. 120,000, said Xiaochen. 120,000? Sure, no problem. The rich woman thought that Xiaochen would ask for 1,000,000 or 800,000. She didn't expect that he would only add 20,000 on top of the original amount. This was nothing to her, so she immediately agreed. Xiaochen looked at the rich woman's straightforward look. He wondered if he was too kind and asked for too little. However, this was his first detective mission. It was okay to ask for less. He was afraid that if he asked for too much, the rich woman would give up. "Let me see where your dog usually lives," said Xiaochen. "Sure." The rich woman nodded and brought Xiaochen into the mansion. They came to a pet room on the first floor. "It's here." Xiaochen pretended to check the puppy's room for a while. In reality, he was just memorizing the puppy's scent and the puppy's photo hanging in the room. "Let's go. Take me to the place where you threw the puppy." Chapter 76. The rich woman saw that Xiaochen was very serious and had no intention of cheating or robbing. She was relieved and looked forward to it. Could this person really find her Blackie? "It's at a mahjong house on the Morning Street. My sisters and I go there every afternoon." The rich woman thought about it and said, "But it's not open yet. Should we go down there? Are you going to find the dog or play mahjong?" Xiaochen asked coldly. "Don't. Detective White Fox, don't be angry. Let's go now," the rich woman said quickly. She made a phone call and called a middle-aged man from the villa. "Old Lu, take us to the mahjong house." "Yes, Mrs. Wang." The man nodded and went to the garage to get the car. The rich woman's car was a Mercedes-Benz S500L, which was worth about 2 million. This was a very common car when she was with the Xiao family. Xiaochen sat in the car calmly and adjusted the air conditioning in the back. This made the rich woman even more certain that Xiaochen was not a scammer. He was really capable. It seemed that Xiaochen had been in this car before. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so familiar with the controls. They arrived at the mahjong house. Xiaochen got out of the car and closed his eyes. The rich woman and the driver didn't dare to disturb him. They just watched Xiaochen stand there. After a while, Xiaochen said, "Follow me." "Oh, okay. Do you want to drive?" the rich woman asked quickly. "If you want to drive, then follow me." Xiaochen got in the car. His sense of smell was much weaker, so he naturally wouldn't get in the car. "I think I'll go. Old Lu, follow me in the car." The rich woman was worried about her dog's safety. If it was a normal day, she wouldn't take a single step. However, it was different today. If she could find Blackie, she wouldn't hesitate to cross mountains and rivers. Fortunately, there was no rain in this season, and there was still a faint puppy smell lingering on the road. Of course, only Xiaochen, who was now a third-level refinement stage cultivator, could perceive it. Others would definitely not be able to do it. Xiaochen walked in front, the rich woman followed behind, and the driver, Old Lu, drove slowly. The three of them arrived at a flower, bird, and fish market. This place was called the Flower, Bird, and Fish Market. In fact, it also sold dogs, cats, lizards, and turtles. It was the largest pet market in Songning City. Right here, Xiaofan said indifferently as he stopped at the entrance of a pet shop called Precious Pet at Home. Here? The rich woman was stunned. Xiaofan didn't answer. Instead, he walked straight into the pet shop. Early in the morning, the pet shop had just opened for business. There were no customers. The owners were a couple, and they were cleaning up at the moment. Seeing a customer come in, the lady boss immediately greeted enthusiastically, "Boss, do you want to buy a pet? Our dogs are all purebred imported, and their faces are very straight." However, the lady boss suddenly saw the mask on Xiaofan's face and suddenly felt very strange. Although there weren't many cameo actors appearing on the streets, subways, and buses, it was the first time she saw one in a pet shop. "Do you have a Tibetan Mastiff?" Xiaofan asked indifferently. The lady boss was stunned. Just as she was about to speak, the owner who was wiping the floor immediately said, "No, we don't have such an expensive dog in our small shop. The most expensive dog here is the Alaskan Malamute." Xiaofan frowned slightly. He could only use his strong sense of smell to determine that the dog should have finally appeared in this pet shop. However, after entering the pet shop, the clues were cut off. Not only was the smell of other dogs everywhere, but the owner was also wiping the floor. Xiaofan couldn't determine where the Tibetan Mastiff was. Moreover, this pet shop was upstairs and downstairs. Even if Xiaofan wanted to find it, it would be difficult to do so. He couldn't search upstairs by force, right? However, the owner's answer made Xiaofan suspicious. "Since I found this place, you should know why I am here." Xiaofan wasn't in a hurry and began to use psychological attacks. "You should know how much the Tibetan Mastiff is worth. It shouldn't be less than $1 million in the market. If you steal it and we call the police, I'm afraid you will be in jail, right?" As soon as they heard that Xiaofan wanted to call the police, the owner and the lady boss looked at each other, and their faces changed at the same time. "Did you steal my dog?" The rich woman was eager to find the dog. She didn't have the time to think about whether Xiaofan's words were true or not. How did he determine that her little blackie was here? Instead, she said subconsciously, "Should we call the police now? Don't slander us. When did we steal the dog? We picked it up." In a hurry, the lady boss immediately defended herself. However, when she said this, she suddenly shut her mouth because she spilled the beans. Picked it up? Then forget about calling the police. As long as you return the dog to the owner, I can make the decision and ask her to give you a sum of money for the puppy's care. Xiaofan's goal was achieved. He couldn't help but feel relieved. It seemed that the lady boss of this pet shop was still a kind person. She wasn't too black-hearted. "Old Lu, go to the car and get me 50,000 yuan. The rich woman ordered the driver. "Yes, Mrs. Wang." The driver named Old Lu nodded and went to get the money. When the couple heard that they could get 50,000 yuan as a reward, they were very happy. Although the Tibetan Mastiff was valuable, it was illegal. They didn't dare to simply sell it. The Tibetan Mastiff was different from other dogs. The daily feed cost a lot of money. In this way, they couldn't keep it, nor could they sell it. Although it was a good thing, they didn't have the fortune to enjoy it. "I'm sorry. We did pick up a Tibetan Mastiff. But you know, the owners of the other pet shops also know about this. I'm afraid that they sent someone to trick me. If they want to cheat the dog, we have to confirm it first." Zhang Zian said. "In a while, you have to recognize it. If the puppy doesn't recognize you, then don't blame me for not giving it to you." The boss was a smart person. After seeing the situation clearly, he immediately said so. Of course, the so-called owner of the nearby pet shops knew about this was completely fabricated. Who would let outsiders know about this kind of thing? The reason he said that was to absolve himself from the blame. Of course. Xiaofan smiled and nodded. Of course, he also knew the thoughts of the pet shop owner, but he didn't point it out. Soon, the boss came downstairs with a black Tibetan Mastiff. Sure enough, the dog was hidden upstairs. If Xiaochen wanted to find it, it wouldn't be so easy. Mrs. Wang, this is 50,000 yuan. The driver, old Lu, came back quickly with a black plastic bag in his hand. He handed it to the rich woman. Little Blackie. The rich woman signaled old Lu to give the money to the pet shop owner. She happily went to find the Tibetan Mastiff. When the Tibetan Mastiff saw Mrs. Wang, it was also very happy. The pet shop owner took the money and smiled, "Thank you, thank you. There's dog food here, I'll give you some. Well, I should go." Xiaochen was still anxious about the exam. He naturally didn't want to stay here any longer. Yes, yes. Thank you, Detective White Fox. Old Lu, hurry up and give the money to this hero. Hero, where are you going? Do you want us to give you a ride? The rich woman saw that Xiaochen was really very capable, so her attitude towards him was naturally very good. Alright, then you can send me to somewhere near Songning Second High School. There's a client waiting for me there. Xiaochen looked at the time. Although he could run there by himself, it was naturally better to have someone send him. Okay, okay. The rich woman quickly signaled old Lu to drive. In the car, Xiaochen sat in the back, holding a black plastic bag with 120,000 yuan in it. He was a little emotional. Finally enough? However, this was only the price of a medicine. Detective White Fox, do you have a business card? If I need anything in the future, can I still look for you? The rich woman asked very respectfully. You can call me. Xiaochen casually said. He didn't have a business card, and he didn't want to expose his identity. Okay. The rich woman nodded. Seeing that Xiaochen didn't like to talk, the rich woman could only shut up. When they arrived at Songning Second High School, Xiaochen got out of the car. After the rich woman's car drove away, he took off his mask and chef's uniform, stuffed them into his school bag, and walked in the direction of the classroom. This morning, Lu Zhenming looked very anxious. He was waiting for Xiaochen, but when Tang Tang came, he still didn't see Xiaochen's figure. He couldn't help but feel a little anxious. Tang Tang, have you seen Xiaochen? Lu Zhenming thought in his heart. Could it be that Xiaochen's academic performance was too bad and he couldn't come for the exam? After knowing that Xiaochen was the abandoned son of the Xiao family, Lu Zhenming naturally thought so. Xiaochen. Why are you looking for him? Tang Tang naturally didn't think that Lu Zhenming was kind enough to care about why his classmate didn't come to school. There must be something wrong with everything. When did Lu Zhenming pay attention to Xiaochen? There is indeed something, but it is a good thing. Lu Zhenming saw that Tang Tang was very vigilant, so he didn't say anything more. Some things must be said in front of Xiaochen. They waited until 9 o'clock, when the exam was about to start, and Xiaochen came late. As soon as Lu Zhenming saw Xiaochen's figure, he immediately rushed over, which shocked Xiaochen. Is this kid sick? Is he going to trouble me in the classroom? Isn't this student Xiaochen? Good morning. Lu Zhenming trotted all the way to Xiaochen and said with a smile. Morning? It's already morning. What's the matter? Xiaochen looked at Lu Zhenming in confusion. Did this kid take the wrong medicine? Xiaochen, the previous things are all misunderstandings. Don't care about it. As he said, Lu Zhenming put his arm around Xiaochen's shoulder and walked out of the classroom. Obviously, he didn't want the people in the classroom to hear their conversation. Lu Zhenming, did you get a brain puncture? Xiaochen frowned and naturally didn't believe Lu Zhenming's words. Or did you not treat enough last time? Do you still want to treat me to dinner? Chapter 77. Yes, you guessed it. I'm going to invite you to dinner. Lu Zhenming nodded with a smile on his face. Xiaochen looked at Lu Zhenming inexplicably. Hadn't this person been ripped off enough? You don't have to be surprised. I already know your identity. Are you the young master of the Xiao family? Don't worry, we are at the same level. It's better to squash enmity than keep it alive. I'm not afraid to tell you that I hang out with young Master Yu and young Master Kun at school. It was young Master Kun who told me about your identity. Young Master Kun said that he has a good relationship with you. He asked me to invite you to dinner to solve the misunderstanding. Lu Zhenming said. Yu Xiaochuan? Xiaochen didn't expect that Yu Xiaochuan had already known his identity. However, Yu Xiaochuan investigated him. Xiaochen could understand that Yu Xiaochuan wanted to get rid of Tang Tang. Now that Xiaochen appeared in front of Tang Tang, it was just in line with Yu Xiaochuan's wishes. Especially after investigating Xiaochen's background, he found that Xiaochen and Tang Tang were well-matched. Maybe he was so happy now. In fact, for this kind of hypocrite, Xiaochen was very disdainful. He would rather be a real villain. However, this kind of situation where his identity was exposed was not what Xiaochen wanted to see. The purpose of his transfer was to start over in a new environment. Now that Yu Xiaochuan had exposed him, this kid wouldn't spread it out, would he? That would disrupt Xiaochen's original plan of making a fortune and practicing in secret. Yes, I saved you that day because of young Master Kun. Otherwise, how could I save you if we had a conflict? Lu Zhenming said, how about it, Xiaochen, give me face. After the exam in the morning, I'll treat you and Tang Tang to a big meal at noon. I'll treat you and Tang Tang. Tang Tang is going too? Xiaochen was stunned. Yeah, since Tang Tang is your girlfriend, let's go together. In fact, it was Yu Xiaochuan's suggestion. He wanted to confirm the relationship between Xiaochen and Tang Tang. But for Lu Zhenming, one more person was not a big deal. Anyway, he was doomed to fail today's dinner. Even if he invited 100 people, it would not cost him a penny. Xiaochen wanted to refuse, but when he thought of Tang Tang's pitiful look, he nodded directly, okay, since you are so sincere, then we will go. Then it's settled. See you after the exam. When Lu Zhenming saw that his invitation was successful, he was very happy. This time, he could make Xiaochen cry. Xiaochen entered the classroom and sat next to Tang Tang. Tang Tang glanced at him and asked, what does Lu Zhenming want from you? He wants to treat us to a big meal at noon, Xiaochen said. Him? Treat us? Is he sick? Tang Tang felt that it was quite incredible. He knows my identity. Xiaochen lowered his voice and said, but he mentioned Yu Xiaochuan and said that Yu Xiaochuan would accompany him. I think this has something to do with this guy. Does Lu Zhenming know your identity? Tang Tang frowned slightly, and then said with some disgust, Yu Xiaochuan is such a schemer. I guess he is using the matter between us to break off the engagement with me. Just break it off. Anyway, you have nothing good to do with him. Xiaochen didn't care. Freeloading. Only a fool would not go with him. That's true. Tang Tang nodded. After that, Tang Tang stopped talking and began to read the book seriously. Tang Tang's academic performance was not bad, but when Lu Zhenming suddenly saw through his identity, it disrupted Xiaochen's original plan to get the first place. How could Xiaochen get the first place in the exam in the past? If he got the first place this time, would he be suspected? This was what Xiaochen was most worried about. And now, 10,000 yuan was really nothing in Xiaochen's eyes. A medicine was at least 100,000 yuan, and 10,000 yuan was just a drop in the bucket. Thinking of this, Xiaochen decided to take it one step at a time. This time, he could get the same result as Tang Tang. Even if Lu Zhenming was suspicious, he must think that he copied Tang Tang's results. When he really became a cultivator at the 4th level of the refinement stage, he would not be afraid of him. Even if he was suspicious, Xiaochen would have the ability to protect himself. It should be known that there were not many young warriors at the 4th level of the inner force in the aristocratic families. Buzz. Xiaochen's mobile phone received a text message. Xiaochen took it out and glanced at it. It was from the young lady. "Why did Lu Zhenming call you just now?" Cheng Menjing's concern surprised Xiaochen. He did not expect that she would care about him so much. Of course, in Xiaochen's view, it did not mean that the young lady had a good impression of him. It was just her kindness. However, what made Xiaochen not know whether to laugh or cry was that after Cheng Menjing sent this message, she sent another one. "I'm just reminding you to report everything to me. As a servant, you have to be aware of this." Humph. Looking at the text message, Xiaochen could imagine Cheng Menjing's arrogant look. He replied, "Lu Zhenming is going to treat me and Tang Tang to a big meal at noon." After the text message was sent, there was no reply. However, on Cheng Menjing's side, Jean Bebe was looking at Cheng Menjing's mobile phone. "Cousin Menjing, I want to have a big meal, too. What do you want to eat? He didn't invite you." Cheng Menjing was a bit annoyed. Why did he invite Xiaochen and Tang Tang? What was the relationship between Xiaochen and Tang Tang? Didn't he know that he was my servant? If he wanted to treat someone, he should have invited me, right? Of course, if Lu Zhenming knew Cheng Menjing's thoughts, he would probably be overjoyed. He wanted to treat Cheng Menjing to a meal, but he didn't have a chance to do so. The first subject was Chinese. Although Xiaochen had done a lot of revision questions recently, he didn't dare to go too far this time. He checked the answers on Tang Tang's test paper with his spiritual mind and estimated the score. Then, he gave a score of about the same as Tang Tang's. Of course, Xiaochen wouldn't make the same mistake as Tang Tang, because that would be considered cheating. Anyway, Lu Zhenming couldn't see the test paper, so Xiaochen didn't need to cheat on it. In the blink of an eye, 2 hours had passed. After Xiaochen handed in the test paper, Lu Zhenming ran to him quickly, as if he was afraid that Xiaochen would run away. "Xiaochen, let's go. Are we going to have a big meal?" When Xiaochen was about to say something, he saw a woman with big breasts appear in front of Lu Zhenming at an extremely fast speed. "A big meal? A big meal? Where are we going to have a big meal? I want to have a big meal, too." Well. Lu Zhenming was a bit speechless. Looking at Jean Bebe, who was rushing to him, and her big breasts, he didn't feel any visual pleasure at all. He only felt upset. Did this girl have clairvoyant ears? How could she hear a big meal from so far away? However, when Lu Zhenming saw Cheng Menjing behind Jean Bebe, his eyes lit up. "Bebe, they didn't invite you. Why are you meddling? Let's go and have a roast duck with me. I'm told that the cafeteria of our school has invited a roast duck chef from Yanjin. The roast duck is very authentic." Cheng Menjing stopped Jean Bebe and said to her, "Menjing, why didn't I invite you? After I finished talking to Xiaochen, I was just about to invite you. You and Jean Bebe can come, too. I've booked a table in the Blue Sea Palace, the best hotel in the city. The authentic Yanjin roast duck is served there, too. It's much more authentic than the ones in our school cafeteria. The ducks there are specially raised. I'm told that the fruit charcoal in the oven was flown in, too. After the roast duck is roasted, it will be brown, tender on the inside, and delicious." Lu Zhenming said in a hurry. "That's great. Cousin Menjing, I want to eat it." Jean Bebe was drooling, and her eyes were almost popping out, as if Lu Zhenming were a giant roast duck. "All right then. I'll try my best to have a try." Cheng Menjing was actually quite interested in why Lu Zhenming had invited Xiaochen, but she did not have any reason to ask. Now, it was a good opportunity for her to follow them and take a look. Lu Zhenming felt creeped out by Jean Bebe's stare. Was the girl up to something again? He said in a hurry, then let's go. I'll lead the way. Xiao Chen and Tang Tang followed him. Cheng Menjing and Jin Beibei stayed further away from Xiao Chen, perhaps because they did not want to expose their relationship in front of outsiders. They did not know that Lu Zhenming had already learned Xiao Chen's identity. But even if he did, so what? It was even more important for Cheng Menjing to avoid arousing suspicion. The five of them came to the parking lot of the school together. Yu Xiaochuan was already waiting next to an Audi A8L. Seeing Xiao Chen and Tang Tang walking over, Yu Xiaochuan put on a sunny smile, looking harmless and amiable. He extended his hand to Xiao Chen and said, "Xiao Chen, I've heard a lot about you. I'll be reassured if you take care of Tang Tang in the future." Xiao Chen and Tang Tang were not very surprised. After all, they had learned about it before, but Cheng Menjing and Jin Beibei were quite shocked. How did Yu Xiaochuan know about it? However, Cheng Menjing was not stupid either. She immediately connected it to Tang Tang. She had also heard that Yu Xiaochuan wanted to get rid of Tang Tang. So, since Xiao Chen and Tang Tang were very close, it would be as easy as pie for Yu Xiaochuan to investigate Xiao Chen. What an idiot! Cheng Menjing cursed in her heart, "Can't you behave yourself? You've fallen into a woman's trap, haven't you? If you're not so close to Tang Tang, will Yu Xiaochuan pay attention to you?" Seeing Cheng Menjing's astonishment, Lu Zhenming hurriedly explained, "Menjing, I didn't mean to investigate Xiao Chen's identity. It's really for a reason. You know, although young Master Kun and Tang Tang have broken off their engagement, they used to be friends. Young Master Kun also hopes that Tang Tang will be happy in the future. So, it's reasonable for him to investigate Xiao Chen's identity. Of course, I also know that you don't want others to know that Xiao Chen is your ex-fiancé. Don't worry, it's only limited to me and young Master Kun. It won't be made public in the class." "That's better." Cheng Menjing nodded proudly. "I don't want to be noticed." Chapter 78. Of course, of course. Menjing, don't worry. Lu Zhenming did not know that Cheng Menjing was afraid that Xiao Chen would be noticed by others. He thought that Cheng Menjing hated Xiao Chen. However, he could not figure out why Cheng Menjing was in the same class with Xiao Chen since she hated Xiao Chen. However, it must be the arrangement of the Cheng family. Lu Zhenming could not figure it out, nor did he dare to ask casually. His relationship with Cheng Menjing was not that good, so he could only observe in secret. "Xiao Chen, Tang Tang, why don't you take my car? Miss Cheng, Miss Jean, why don't you take Lu Zi's car?" Yu Xiaochuan arranged the situation of these people like a superior. He liked the feeling of being in charge. His goal was to be a superior. "I'm not used to taking other people's cars." After saying that, Cheng Menjing walked to Jin Beibei's Beetle. "Lu Zi, don't drive. Take my car," Yu Xiaochuan said to Lu Zhenming with his face still as warm as a spring breeze. He didn't care about Cheng Menjing's attitude at all. In his eyes, Cheng Menjing wasn't someone he could rope in. No matter how beautiful a woman was, no matter how noble her status was, she would still be ridden by men. She wouldn't be of any help to his future plans. "No problem, Mr. Xiaochuan." Lu Zhenming opened the door of the passenger seat of the A8L and sat in the passenger seat. Yu Xiaochuan did not get in the car until Xiao Chen and Tang Tang sat in the back seat. He started the car, while Jin Beibei's Beetle followed Lu Zhenming's car. "Xiao Chen, you and I are at the same level. You should know Tang Tang's identity. Since you like her, I'm relieved. It's not easy for people at our level to find true love. Cherish it." Yu Xiaochuan reminded Xiao Chen earnestly like an elder. "Mr. Yu, you don't have to worry about it. I understand what you mean." Xiao Chen didn't deny the relationship between him and Tang Tang because he wanted to save her face. If he said that he wasn't her boyfriend, Tang Tang would probably be very embarrassed at this moment, as if no one wanted her. That's good. I won't say more. Let's eat and drink well this noon. Lu Zi said that he would treat us, but I think I should treat you. Yu Xiaochuan had achieved his purpose, so he did not want to say anything to Xiao Chen. He had successfully gotten rid of Tang Tang, as well as Lu Jinming, the young master of the Lu family, one of the 4 big and 5 small aristocratic families. Yu Xiaochuan was free in the future. The Azure Sea Palace was the largest, most luxurious, and most expensive hotel in Songning City. Many successful people liked to entertain distinguished guests here, and the young masters of the 4 big and 5 small aristocratic families were also frequent guests here. After parking the car, they walked into the hotel together. The security guard at the door had sharp eyes. He remembered all the famous people in Songning City. When he saw the group in front of him, his heart suddenly tightened. Miss Cheng, Miss Jean, Xiao Chen, Mr. Kun, Mr. Lu, and Miss Tang, welcome. The security guard knew all the people in front of him, but he was particular about the order in which he called them. He called them according to the order of the 4 big and 5 small aristocratic families. The Cheng family was the head of the 4 big and 5 small aristocratic families, and the Lu family was the last. However, the security guard also knew that Tang Tang had left the Tang family, so Tang Tang was put last. He did not know about Xiao Chen. Yu Xiaochuan raised his eyebrows. Obviously, he was a little unhappy with the security guard putting Xiao Chen's name in front of him. If it was in the past, he would have endured it. After all, the Xiao family was a little stronger than the Yu family, but now. Of course, he did not say anything. He just kept it in mind and planned to let the manager of the Diamond Account Department of the Azure Sea Palace inform about the Xiao family. I've booked it, Diamond number 1. Yu Xiaochuan glanced at the security guard and said faintly. Okay, Mr. Kun, please. The security guard quickly made a please gesture. The Azure Sea Palace adopted a membership card system. That was to say, without a membership card, it was useless to come here to eat. You must show your membership card to enter the door, and the waiter or security guard would arrange the box according to the level of the membership card. Of course, people like Xiao Chen and his group wouldn't show their membership cards at all, because their faces were the membership cards, and it was a high-grade diamond card at that. This was also an important job that the security guards and waiters had to do to work here, to recognize the face. On the first floor of the Azure Sea Palace was the self-service area. Of course, these things were free. The guests who ate here could come down and take it at will. However, this was not a loss, because who would come here to eat these free things for the guests who had a membership card? They would order a lot of famous dishes in the box, and the hotel had already earned back the money, not to mention the high membership fee every year. The Diamond number 1 box was the most luxurious box in the diamond card. It was not something that could be entered with a diamond card. There was also a minimum consumption here. Of course, the decoration of this box was also incomparably luxurious. The walls were hung with expensive calligraphy and paintings. There were works by famous contemporary masters, as well as antique calligraphy and paintings. On the display shelf on the side of the box, there were also many expensive antiques for the guests to admire. In short, the taste here was very elegant and luxurious. In other words, it was high-end, atmospheric, and high-grade. Under the guidance of the waiter, they entered the box. Xiao Chen was once a regular here, so he did not show any abnormalities. He directly walked into the box and sat down. After everyone entered the private room, Ma Xiaotian, the manager of the Diamond Account Department, rushed over upon hearing the news. She walked quickly into the private room and said with a smile, "Young masters and Missy are here. Welcome. I'm sorry I came late, but I didn't treat you well. Recently, there are a few good things in the number 1 box. Young masters, would you like to have a look?" The good things that the manager of the customer department said referred to antiques. These young masters were born in famous families. In addition to playing with women and racing cars, they also liked to play with some elegant things. The Azure Sea Palace often made some antiques for these young masters to admire. If there was something that these young masters liked, it was not uncommon for them to spend a lot of money to buy it. To put it bluntly, this was also one of the ways for the Azure Sea Palace to make money. Then let's have a look. Lu Zhenming smiled and stood up. However, when he saw that Xiaochen did not get up, he patted Xiaochen on the shoulder and said, "Xiaochen, come and have a look together. I heard that a few months ago, you spent a lot of money in this diamond number 1 box and bought a jade ring back." Lu Zhenming was right. A few months ago, Xiaochen had indeed bought a jade thumb ring from here. However, it was for his grandfather's birthday as a birthday gift. At that time, his grandfather was very fond of it and had even praised him. However, in the blink of an eye, things remained the same, but the people had changed. He had already been kicked out of the Xiao family. That grandfather who doted on him had never contacted him since he was kicked out of the Xiao family. Xiaochen did not want to stand up, but seeing Tang Tang stand up curiously, Xiaochen also stood up. Tang Tang was completely out of curiosity. Although she had come to the Azure Sea Palace for dinner before, it was with her elders. She really did not pay attention to the antiques on this shelf. Young Master Kun, Young Master Lu, Xiaochen, this bowl was used by Zhang Naipeo, the leader of the dark sect, in XX years. Ma Xiaotian pointed to a bowl on the display shelf and introduced with a smile. Ma Xiaotian's word slightly moved Xiaochen's heart. He put his name at the end. What did this mean? This person knew that he was kicked out of the Xiao family? However, before at the entrance of the hotel, the security guard did not know. Was there something wrong here? Thinking of this, Xiaochen secretly became vigilant. Of course, this was also a habit of self-protection that he had developed over the years. Oh? The leader of the dark sect? That is a legendary existence. I want to see it. As he said, Lu Zhenming reached out to pick up the bowl on the shelf and carefully looked at it. He was amazed as he looked at it. When I hold it in my hand, it has a kind of evil qi, a kind of gloomy feeling. Xiaochen, do you want to have a look? As he said, Lu Zhenming handed the bowl in his hand to Xiaochen. Xiaochen was stunned and subconsciously reached out to take it. However, when his hand stretched out halfway, he instinctively stopped. Although there was a smile on Lu Zhenming's face, Xiaochen felt that there was a little bit of bad intention. However, Xiaochen did not take it, but Lu Zhenming directly stuffed the bowl into Xiaochen's hand. Before Xiaochen could hold it firmly, he let go. The bowl directly fell to the ground. Although the floor of this box was covered with carpet, the bowl still fell in half. Xiaochen, why are you so careless? This bowl was broken by you? What a pity! Lu Zhenming shouted. It's broken? Ma Xiaotian was also stunned, but she smiled indifferently. It doesn't matter. It's just a toy. It's only a little more than 1 million. It's a piece of cake for Xiaochen. Xiaochen, you broke this bowl yourself. I'm sorry that I can't pay for it. This meal is on me. Yu Xiaochuan walked over and said seriously. Xiaochen finally understood why Lu Zhenming took such a big detour to set up this trap. It turned out that he was waiting for him here. Before, Xiaochen thought that Yu Xiaochuan simply wanted to treat him to a meal to confirm the relationship between him and Tang Tang. But when he thought about it carefully, it was not necessary. Yu Xiaochuan had treated him before. Jean Bebe was holding the menu and was about to order. Hearing the noise here and seeing the broken bowl under Xiaochen's feet, she was a little confused. Cousin Menjiang, what are they talking about? Humph, it's his fault for being greedy. He insisted on coming to the banquet. Now he's making trouble, isn't he? Cheng Menjing snorted, but she was very anxious in her heart. More than 1 million, although it was not a small amount, Cheng Menjing could take out the money. However, in what name should she take it out? Chapter 79. It was Lu Zhenming who fell to the ground. What does it have to do with Xiaochen? Tang Tang had been paying close attention to Xiaochen. Naturally, she knew what had happened. Hearing Cheng Menjing's words, she naturally felt that it was unfair to Xiaochen. Cheng Menjing glanced at Tang Tang. She frowned and said in a low voice, "Do you think I don't know that? Do I need you to tell me? Since you care so much about Xiaochen, why don't you pay the bill for him? It's obvious that they are trying to set him up. That manager is obviously one of them." How could Tang Tang have so much money? If she had more than 1 million, she wouldn't have to sell fried dough sticks in the morning. Cousin Menjing, why don't I do it? Jean Bebe chuckled. There was no telling what dirty tricks she had come up with this time. Cheng Menjing hesitated for a moment. Although Jean Bebe was definitely going to set Lu Zhenming or Yu Xiaochuan up, it was best for her to step in at this moment. Therefore, she nodded calmly. However, when Jean Bebe was about to step in, Xiaochen bent down and picked up the broken bowl on the ground. Holding it in his hand, he glanced at Lu Zhenming with a weird expression and said, "The bowl is not broken, is it? Isn't it good? Is it necessary to make such a fuss?" "Huh?" Lu Zhenming was smiling complacently. He was stunned when he heard Xiaochen's words. He was just about to retort when he suddenly found that the bowl in Xiaochen's hand was not broken at all. There was not even a crack on it. Yu Xiaochuan's eyes widened. He was speechless as he looked at the bowl in Xiaochen's hand. Did I see it wrong? The bowl in Xiaochen's hand was clearly intact. How could it be broken? The one who was most puzzled was Ma Xiaotian. Although she promised to cooperate with Yu Xiaochuan and Lu Zhenming's acting, in order to avoid arousing suspicion, she was quite far away from Xiaochen. She didn't see clearly whether the bowl on the ground was broken or not. When she walked over, Xiaochen had already picked it up. She wondered if Lu Zhenming was acting and didn't see clearly. Was he too anxious? Since it's not broken, that's good. Looks like this demon sect leader Zhang Naipeo is a tough one after all. Ma Xiaotian said with a laugh, knowing that she couldn't keep up the act today. That's impossible. It was obviously broken. Lu Zhenming finally had a chance to punish Xiaochen. How could he let it go? He directly snatched the bowl from Xiaochen's hand and placed it in front of his eyes to examine it. However, as soon as he looked at it, the bowl broke into 2 halves with a crack and stopped in Lu Zhenming's palm just like that. Lu Zhenming was dumbfounded. Yu Xiaochuan was dumbfounded. Ma Xiaotian was also dumbfounded. What was going on? Cheng Menjing was puzzled. Tang Tang was puzzled. Jean Bebe was thoughtful. Why? Why is it broken? Lu Zhenming didn't expect that a bowl that was perfectly fine just now would break in half in his hand. Wasn't this too amazing? Young Master Lu, what are you robbing? Look, it's broken, isn't it? Xiaochen looked at Lu Zhenming with a bit of heartache and said, "This bowl is only about 1 million, which is nothing for someone like young Master Lu, but it's a pity that it broke like this, isn't it?" Lu Zhenming looked at the broken bowl in his hand. He wanted to cry but had no tears. Damn, I didn't break it at all. A look of doubt flashed in Yu Xiaochuan's eyes. However, he was a hypocrite. It was impossible for him to lie through his teeth and falsely accuse Xiaochen. He could only frown and say, "Lu Zhenming, why are you so careless? Forget it, just pay them the money. Although this meal is on me, this bowl is not included." Lu Zhenming wanted to cry but had no tears. He and his father, Lu Siwen, had just applied for 1 million to pick up girls, but now he had to pay for this bowl? Although he didn't know if this bowl was a bowl used by a sect master, it was indeed an antique. Back then, he had chosen this bowl because he was afraid that Xiaochen would recognize it. If it was a fake, Xiaochen wouldn't be willing to pay for it. Therefore, the real value of this bowl was actually 1,000,000 yuan. Damn, my cousin-in-law has a superpower. Jin Beibei murmured to Cheng Menjing. Cheng Menjing didn't know how the situation in front of her turned 180 degrees. Swipe my card. Lu Zhenming took out a bank card and handed it to Ma Xiaotian. Although he had reached an agreement with Ma Xiaotian to put on this show, it didn't mean that he didn't need to pay for the broken bowl. Okay. Ma Xiaotian took over the bank card and nodded. I'll leave my diamond card here. My grandpa suddenly sent me a message. He wants to talk to me about something. Excuse me, everyone. I'll pay for all your expenses. Yu Xiaochuan felt that it was meaningless for him to stay here. He handed his diamond card to Ma Xiaotian and said. As for his grandpa, it was just an excuse. He failed to trick Xiaochen and lost face in front of Lu Zhenming. Naturally, he was not in the mood to eat here anymore. Lu Zhenming hesitated for a while. Since Yu Xiaochuan had left, it was meaningless for him to stay here. Besides, he had lost face in front of Cheng Menjing. Xiaochen should pay for the bowl, but he had to pay for it. Seeing Jin Beibei's gloating look, Lu Zhenming said, I'm going to find an antique shop to see if this bowl can be repaired. I like it very much. Huh. After saying that, Lu Zhenming took the cracked bowl and walked out of the room with Yu Xiaochuan. When Ma Xiaotian was about to go out with them, Jin Beibei shouted, Hey, don't go. I want to order. Miss Jean, what would you like to order? Ma Xiaotian had no choice but to ask Lu Zhenming to wait for a while. She would give him the card. Give me a plate of everything on the menu. Jin Beibei pointed at the menu and said. Hearing Jin Beibei's words, Yu Xiaochuan, who had just walked out of the room, almost stumbled and fell. What was this place? It was a top hotel in Songning City. Every dish on the menu would cost at least 1,000,000 yuan. Did this girl want to kill me? Miss Jean, can you eat so much? Ma Xiaotian asked weakly. Although she was happy to sell a lot, it was Yu Xiaochuan's treat. If she offended Yu Xiaochuan, she would lose more than she gained. If I can't finish it, can't I pack it up? Jin Beibei waved her hand and said, Okay, I've ordered. You can serve the dishes now. Okay. Okay, Miss Jean. Ma Xiaotian had to nod and left the room. A gloomy look flashed across Yu Xiaochuan's face. However, he recovered soon. To him, spending more than 1,000,000 yuan was nothing. He had no pursuit for material life. What he pursued was strength and power. Young Master Kun, what do you think? After Ma Xiaotian left the room, she naturally had to ask Yu Xiaochuan, who was the sponsor. Didn't I tell you? I'll pay the bill. Do you still doubt my credibility even though I've placed my diamond card here? Yu Xiaochuan glanced at Ma Xiaotian and asked coldly. Of course not. I'll go and serve the dishes now. Ma Xiaotian's heart trembled. She quickly asked someone to serve the dishes. In the parking lot of the Azure Heavenly Palace, Lu Zhenming was sitting in Yu Xiaochuan's A8L car. He said angrily, Young Master Kun, this bowl was obviously broken into two halves on the ground. However, when Xiaochen picked it up, it was whole. Then, when I picked it up, it became two halves again. Did Xiaochen use some sorcery? Sorcery? If I'm not mistaken, this brat should have practiced magic. He just used a camouflage. Yu Xiaochuan shook his head. I heard that he used to imitate a magician on TV to please a girl. So that's how it is. Damn, I was tricked by this brat. Young Master Kun, I can't swallow this. Not only did I not punish Xiaochen, but you and I have lost more than 1,000,000 yuan. Lu Zhenming said viciously, I want to kill this brat. Don't be impulsive. Yu Xiaochuan glanced at Lu Zhenming. Didn't I tell you that his identity is special? Since you know that he is the young master of the Xiao family, I'm afraid that you will get into trouble if you kill him. We can find someone to do it. I don't believe that the Qing family will investigate carefully for a person like him. Lu Zhenming was really angry today. Originally, he wanted to get closer to Qing Menjing through this meal. However, he didn't expect that not only did he not get closer to her, but he also made a fool of himself. The initiator of all this was Xiaochen. He hated him to the bone. Well, I know what to do about this matter. Wait for me to think of a safe way, said Yu Xiaochuan. Then. Okay. I'll go back first. In Lu Zhenming's heart, there was already a barrier between him and Yu Xiaochuan. He could see that Yu Xiaochuan didn't kill Xiaochen not because he was afraid that the Qing family would be unhappy, but because of Tang Tang. If Xiaochen died, how could he get rid of Tang Tang? However, due to the status of the Yu family, Lu Zhenming didn't dare to say it. Although he was a young master of the underworld, compared with Yu Xiaochuan, his level was still much lower. Many times, he still needed to rely on Yu Xiaochuan's help to improve his level. Your bowl. Yu Xiaochuan also saw that Lu Zhenming wasn't very happy, but he couldn't do anything about it. He still needed to use Xiaochen. For this matter, as long as Master Tang didn't officially give in and form a divorce document, Yu Xiaochuan wouldn't feel at ease for a day. No, young Master Kun. You can take it and play with it. Lu Zhenming was not a man of high social status. He didn't like to play with these artsy things, especially this broken bowl. It was useless for Lu Zhenming to take it back. Yu Xiaochuan didn't say anything. He started the car and went straight to the Tang family. He had to put an end to this matter. Otherwise, even his underling Lu Zhenming would have some ideas about him, which was not what Yu Xiaochuan wanted to see. After Yu Xiaochuan and Lu Zhenming left, there were only Xiaochen, Tang Tang, Qing Menjing, and Jin Beibei in the box. The atmosphere became weird. Cousin-in-law, was that magic you just performed? Jin Beibei looked at Xiaochen with interest and asked. What Xiaochen performed just now was not magic but illusions, which was a special ability of the third level of the refinement stage. Theoretically speaking, it was a trick that cultivators used to confuse their opponents in a fight. However, Xiaochen had used it in a bowl. You're tuning in to the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.